Logan Wilson awaiting the opportunity to return. He signals fair catch, lets it sail over his head. And we'll turn it over to Brendan Sorsby, who's one of the top quarterbacks in the country statistically. And Mike, over his last 2 wins, he's got more touchdown passes than incompletions.
Been incredible. Your Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week in that win against Northwestern State, and has really reshaped his body this year. Really difficult for opposing defenses to try and bring down in the pocket, and a central part of this rushing attack for Scott Satterfield's offense.
They kick at about 75 degrees, could climb all the way up to 85 before we're done. Toby Walker is the tailback, the senior from Las Vegas, out of the pistol. They feed him over the right side with the tight end leading the way, Joe Royer, one of the most dynamic players in all of the Big 12. 5 yards on the run. Dean Miller wraps up the tackle.
You mentioned Royer last year broke Travis Kelce's single-season Cincinnati record for receptions by a tight end, and a great blocker at the point of attack. You'll see them move him all over the field today.
I meant to Google Kelce, see what he's up to these days. I hope life is going well for him. Throw to the flat and a catch near the sticks. Appears to be shy of the line to gain. Give him 3. 3rd down and short upcoming for Sorsby. Cyrus Allen, Cincinnati's leading receiver, gets an early touch.
And this has been one of the issues for Cincinnati on the season, converting just 33% of their 3rd downs. 12th in the Big 12, 112th nationally, but much more manageable here. Eyes on the legs of the quarterback. Great opportunity for the first start on offense.
And from the Kansas lens, the Jayhawks come out their best defensive performance of the season, looking to get off the grass with a 3 and outs. At the mesh point, quarterback run. That's what he does so well. Moves the chains up to the 44-yard line. Taylor Davis kept it from being an even bigger breaker.
See right here, the motion comes across, counter designed for your quarterback on the inside. He can give if the defense crashes down. He gets up the middle. Great vision for a running back. Got up a little gingerly after that play. Let's keep an eye on and see how he's moving after taking a hit on the first 3rd down conversion.
I do want to point out the Jayhawks are without their starting safety Mason Ellis due to injury today. Also without their top-graded Jayhawk on that back end. Devin Dye will miss this first half because of a targeting call last week. They get a run stuff as they seal the edge with Bengali Kamara.
Kamara crashing down, difference maker on this team. Missed the Wagner game to start the season, was limited against Missouri, dealing with a knee injury, but back at full force now. They believe him alongside Trey Latham, the West Virginia transfer, can be a really dynamic group making those splash plays behind the line of scrimmage.
Shotgun snap to Sorsby, a gun run, and the Jayhawks blow it up. Kamara again knifing through, a loss of 3.
And Kamara limping off the field now. Keep an eye on there, but you see one crashing downhill, identifies it, then beat the tight end to the point of attack. Devin Zahersky was supposed to be coming across and kicking out, but the timing disrupted, and now the kind of 3rd and long that's troubled them all season for Cincinnati.
Need to get across midfield, looking for the 47 of Kansas. Only 1 throw for Sorsby so far. He hit a flat route for 3 yards. Will be tested here. Again, he's yet to be sacked this season. Jayhawks coming after him with 4. The throw goes wide and incomplete at midfield. Austin Alexander, a freshman, at the corner position, competing at the catch point on a ball intended for Caleb Goody.
Caleb Goody, one of the many new wide receivers in this room, and you see the ball sail just a bit high back inside. Gives the corner enough time to get in there. Great hit by Austin Alexander, separating man from ball and stopping the potential conversion there.
And teams was a big area in which Kansas won last week against West Virginia. Saw Tate Nagy back to receive a low line drive punt that takes a Cincinnati roll all the way down near the 6-yard line. All right, so both teams have great punting units, both in terms of gross and net results, and that's how this game begins. First touch now for Jalen Daniels, JD6, back to work on his home field.
The 4-time captain in his 6th year here at Kansas, coming off a bit of a slow start at the beginning of that West Virginia game. 8 of 18 in the first half, but the team really able to handle their business in that one defensively, get a decisive win. I'm sure they're going to want to get him started and in rhythm early in an offense that we know has plenty of moving parts.
And Jim Zabrowski, offensive coordinator, said Jalen, a little bit like a starting baseball pitcher, maybe didn't have his best stuff against West Virginia last week, but had enough to get the win. Pressure from his blind side as he deals to the 40. Off to the races already. Emmanuel Henderson Jr. gone. Last week, a 94-yard kick return touchdown. On one strike here, 93 through the air.
They raved about the speed of Emmanuel Henderson. His approach and demeanor coming over from Alabama, the way he approached his work. But you know the number one thing that keeps opposing defensive coordinators up at night is that speed to burn, and they go and lift the lid on play number 1. What a start for the Jayhawks.
I don't know that he looks like a former running back, but he definitely looks like a former 5-star recruit. Marjan drills the point after. Henderson Jr., the 4th longest passing play in program history.
And you're going to see right here, this is the matchup on the outside, and watch the corner's eyes looking in at the quarterback here on the play. Originally looks like he's in zone, eyeing the quarterback. No idea why he's biting up on the run fake there, but a quick stumble after that, and too much speed from Henderson to give him any half step for a big home run to start the day for Kansas. The boys are making noise in the crowd. You mentioned the capacity of stands. You want to give them a reason to get excited early. They got one here.
No chance for Logan Wilson, the return man for Cincinnati. And so Brendan Sorsby takes the field again after throwing his first incompletion in 21 days, failing on 3rd down to punt it away.
Hey, you mentioned a 15 for 15 effort. An incredible job, but we understand, right? They had 2 games to come back and get right after opening up the season at Arrowhead, not far from here, in a loss against Nebraska. And a great out-of-conference test where they felt like they had an opportunity to win it despite it not being their best day through the air. Brendan Sorsby still had confidence in the way they executed, how involved he was on the ground. We mentioned 4 rushing touchdowns this season, but they've got to get it going through the air on this drive to keep pace.
So Walker on the first series. Evan Pryor takes his turn in the backfield. Sorsby's arm is hit and the ball flutters incomplete. Blake Harold broke through.
It's a great challenge. You mentioned no sacks allowed by the Cincinnati offensive line, but defensively for Kansas up front, 13 sacks on the season, 3rd best in the conference. And defensive coordinator DK McDonald wants to get bodies up near the line of scrimmage. You're going to see bare front, centers and guards all covered, and them trying to get one-on-one matchups.
Keeper game for Sorsby here. Flips it to Royer. Shouldered out at the 31-yard line. 5, maybe 6 to shorten up 3rd down.
Scott Satterfield in this offense love outside zone as one of their base runs. So those bootleg actions off that can help take some of the bite out of that defense for Kansas that wants to get downhill. We've already seen Kamara, Trey Lathan working downhill. 3rd and medium here now. Great time to keep an eye on the tight end, Joe Royer.
Bearcats set up 2-by-2 with the tailback Pryor offset left. Sorsby ran for a 3rd down conversion and then missed on a throw in his first possession. Sets the laces here and takes off. Stumbles and is shy. Missed it by a yard in decision time early for Cincinnati.
Yeah, the offense staying out in the field, and JB, I'm generally a fan of if you've got 4th and short, an offensive line you trust, and a mobile quarterback, you should be able to get a yard anywhere on the field. I love this decision. Getting another big body on now, and Devin Zahersky for a 2 tight end set.
See, Cincinnati has converted all 3 of their 4th down attempts so far this season. Behind their center, Gavin Gerhardt, a 3-time captain. Sends it back to the QB. Only needs a yard and moves the chains up to the 40.
Great play call. You'd gotten pressure inside on a couple of the last looks from the linebacker groups. And so a little bit of speed option on the perimeter. Put the ball in the hands of your big quarterback. And he makes a guy miss the point of attack. So difficult to bring down. So adept as a runner. He's got great vision every time he takes off as well, which helps.
Mike, just circling back to something you said about Cincinnati, which these Bearcats could very well be undefeated, right? Challenged an out-of-conference Power 4 opponent. Same, too, for KU. I mean, their rivalry game against Missouri looked to be very much in their favor deep in that 4th quarter. Bearcats bouncing their running game to the outside. Evan Pryor across midfield and takes a pop. No flags down as he's got a first down in Jayhawk territory. 14, perhaps 15 on the ground before Trey Lathan knocked him out of bounds.
Great job. This run hits backside, and he's got free hitters in the hole and just manages to bounce off him. Great stiff arm and way to put the foot in the ground and find the edge that got softened because all those defenders were understandably in play to make a place to make a play in the B gap.
Pryor is a senior. He was UC's home run hitter last year, scoring 4 touchdowns, measuring at least 55 yards. It's Grover, the tight end, in motion. They run opposite that motion, and only a yard on first down. DJ Graham, a senior corner, with the tackle.
We know Kansas offensively majors in a lot of misdirection for them. I think Cincinnati is going to need to mix in some of that as well. Great opportunities to sneak the tight end out back on some motion, because right now this Kansas defense is playing downhill. Their linebackers are triggering quickly. Could also set up for a play action shot in this area of the field.
Tyree Walker back in the backfield for Cincinnati. Blitz was creeping. Here they come. Sorsby flips it out to his safety valve. Cincinnati turns a negative into a 5-yard gain. Austin Alexander securing the tackle in the Kansas secondary.
And we've already seen on this drive, as we get the replay right here, just a great job by Walker of presenting himself to the quarterback. Sorsby drifts back, but can't be going into this play. We've seen 4-down territory for them more than likely, so don't be afraid to call a run here if you're Scott Satterfield.
The head coach and play caller for this Cincinnati offense. Off the ball fake. Sorsby extending his time in the pocket and missing back shoulder for Jeff Caldwell, former FCS All-American who runs 6'5". It is 4th down and the offense staying on the field.
Yep, now you're worried more about the scramble threat here, since with 4, almost 5 yards, you're going to need to keep it in the air. But great coverage. Austin Alexander's been sticky all day today. Both teams still breaking in largely transferred receiver rooms. Some of that timing still not quite there.
Bearcats 1 for 1 today, 4 for 4 on their season on 4th down. Front empty. Sorsby shoots, and it's plucked out of the air by Cyrus Allen to extend the drive. He's got at least 3 grabs in every game so far this season. He played at A&M and Louisiana Tech before coming to Cincinnati.
Another blitz up the middle, both linebackers, so he knows he's got man-to-man coverage and he hunts his favorite matchup. And Cyrus Allen, that east-west agility and that ability to separate the intermediate, been a big part of this offense early this season for Cincinnati.
Now, coming into today, 42 of the 51 catches this season had been by new Bearcats, to give you a sense of, just like Kansas, how much the pass-catching room has turned over year over year.
Cyrus Allen right now, early in the season, your team leader in receptions coming into this game, at least 3 in every outing, and you saw why there. They've got great different varieties, different body types and skill sets in this wideout.
Again, and a right side run. And 2 Jayhawks converging on that tackle, including Kamara. Let's go down to Lauren.
You talked about the Cincinnati new receivers, guys. Brendan Sorsby actually played a massive role in this. He said he went to work like a coach. Scott Satterfield telling me Sorsby was in the office every day asking who he needed to call, helping recruit guys like Caleb Goody, Cyrus Allen, and also Jeff Caldwell. And then I talked to Sorsby about it, and he said, look, there's a rumor going around right now that I'm sliding into DMs. He goes, I had a phone call with these guys first, and then I slid into DMs, but it eventually got them to come to the school, guys, and they've been very successful.
All right, thank you, Lauren. 2nd down, half roll, reversing field here. Got an open tailback who could not spin it around in time to get his eyes on it. Walker was running free, but it falls incomplete.
The ethical DM slide almost turned into a great opportunity. Downfield here. Walker just stays active, pressure in the pocket. Great job buying time by Sorsby. And then that ball just sails. You can see Walker was expecting that to come over his left shoulder. It sails just outside and can't quite make the adjustment. 3rd and long, where again, right now, when the defense spread out here, I love popping in a run to try and take advantage of the light box.
12th play of the Cincinnati drive. Protection is there initially. There's a fastball to the 25 and a broken tackle. Isaiah Johnson still going to the pylon. And they mark him out just shy. Ball down at the 3-yard line for now. Let's give him 32 on the catch and run.
Four-man rush, great protection up front, and just an extra effort at the top of the route, being able to shrug off the tackler. And I'm sure they're going to take a look at this. Foot steps out right here. Ball clearly short. Great job IDing that by the officials in real time. This is the area of the field where Sorsby becomes the most dangerous, though. Design quarterback carries down by the goal line have to be what you anticipate for Kansas defensively.
The only perfect team in the red zone so far this season, Cincinnati. They're 11 for 11 scoring the football.
Cincinnati
10 of
takes
those
their first charge
have been
down out of the
touchdowns.
field.
And that run
30
out of it
seconds
is
in left.
obviously the biggest weapon that Scott Satterfield has at his disposal on short fields.
Great weapon by Kansas there, using the substitution game to force Kansas to burn a timeout, or excuse me, to force Cincinnati to burn a timeout. They substitute players, so Kansas the opportunity to match, and you saw one of their defensive linemen taking a sweet time, jogging onto the field. These players and coaches have become so adept at understanding, hey, when do we have an opportunity to all of a sudden slow things down, give our defense a chance to catch their breath, and make the other team maybe use a valuable timeout.
Golick, after that quick strike from Kansas to go 93 yards for a one-play touchdown, sustained possession here for the visitors, including 2 massive fourth-down conversions.
Yeah, exactly, and to see your passing game picking up where you left off. We mentioned the 15 for 15. Certainly the expectation wasn't going to be perfection going into this game, but they've already been able to strike downfield and clearly show they've been building since that opening weekend loss to Nebraska, where the passing game wasn't quite as dialed in.
Patrick Gerd, a tight end, in as a fullback, and they run it right behind him over the right side. Tawee Walker with a chance for Cincinnati to tie it early.
No frills down here. This is when you put it on your offensive line up front. You mentioned Gavin Gerhardt, your captain. They have a lot of trust and faith in this group, and deservedly so. One of the best I've watched on tape. And when you've got a mobile quarterback and an offensive lineman down here, you see the puller coming out front here, Evan Tangenstall coming around from left to right and clearing out plenty of space. Joe Royer, he's another one. You just have so many options down in the low red zone for a team with this many dynamic threats that are willing to put their hand in the dirt.
The lefty, Steven Rusnak, is the kicker. Tawee Walker with the touchdown. He began his college career as an Oklahoma Sooner as a walk-on. In fact, he scored a touchdown in a loss here at Kansas in 23. Now a Bearcat finding pay dirt. 3 through the air today. Steven Rusnak, the lefty, off the tee. Will not give Henderson a chance.
Probably the right play if they're asking the coach in the booth. But now we get a chance, and JB, I think we just mentioned with him, emblematic of the challenge this Kansas offense presents. We mentioned for Lance Leipold, Jim Zabrowski, your offensive coordinator, you're going to be seeing tight ends shifting from one side to the other, multiple formations within the checks in the same play, all of it to try and buy up the eyes of your safety, get your defensive backs to flinch for a second, which means the big play is always on the menu for a team that loves a play action deep shot as much as the Jayhawks.
Daniels just picked up his 13th touchdown of the season already through the air. Short set here. Much shorter delivery. Gains 6 on first down. Able to put it in the hands of Bowden Gruen, who last week scored a 7-yard touchdown, his first as a Jayhawk.
Yeah, we talk about Joe Royer on the other side. Much more of a tight end committee here. For Kansas, you'll see 2 or 3 of them on the field at any given time. They love those 12, 13 personnel sets.
If you love the tight end position, this is the game for you. Got a potential first-round pro on Cincinnati's side. And like you said, a committee here, including one in motion at the snap. They put it on the ground. And a run stop for the Bearcats front. Again, without a potential All-American in Dante Corleone today in the Big 12 opener. So they'll ask a lot of players like Isaiah Rodgers in his stead.
Certainly, but they did mention one of the areas that they feel like they've come the furthest in is getting bigger, faster, stronger, deeper in Scott Satterfield's 3rd year at the helm.
First third down of the afternoon for Jalen Daniels. Sean Williams, his tailback. Myson Canty, the motion man. Looking for half the chains here. Has to move off his spot and throws it away. The coverage sticky in the secondary for Cincinnati. They're looking for Deshaun Hanukkah, who is shaken up and limping off.
Big bodies all to your right, so they're going to work on collapsing that pocket from that side. Just a slight twist, and all of a sudden everything bearing down on Jalen Daniels, forcing him to roll away from his strong arm and throw an errant pass. Something that you've seen, for all the good Jalen Daniels does, at times struggles throwing on the run early in this season.
You saw Hanukkah losing his feet there, now being attended to on the sideline. Finn Lappin will punt it away to Manny Covey for Cincinnati. Steps up, looking into the afternoon sunlight, takes a fair catch just below his 30th game.
The kind of swagger and confidence that puts the rest of your team at ease, especially coming on the road to a hostile environment in conference.
Behind him, Walker just rushed for a short touchdown. Begins a new drive with some traffic in the hole. Able to stumble for a few. Let's go down to Lauren.
You guys talk about Sorsby's confidence. Now, he told me he came into this season fitter and stronger. He's shrugging off the hits more easily, taking fewer risky shots, protecting his body. He told me the weight room work has clearly paid off. He said he just went all in, stopped BSing through the workouts, and start embracing the grind with the entire team when he's lifting. And guys, the dual threat workload, you know, it can be heavy, but he's carrying it and doing it very efficiently so far through 3 games this season.
Thank you, Lauren. He fashions himself as a bit of a Josh Allen guy, which is interesting here in the KC area. Zips one's over the middle for another first down up to the 46-yard line. Jeff Caldwell on the receiving end.
Caldwell, special athlete. You see 9 coming into the middle of your screen. 6'5", 215. Spent an extra year at Lindenwood, in large part because he wanted to finish out playing with his brother Frank. There's a lot of people that thought he could have made that jump to the Power 4 a year earlier, but he's here now, and you've already seen his impact.
Louisville, Kentucky native. Back to the ground game. Good lane. Nice removal up front as they cave in that left side, paving the way for Walker to rush for 11 and a new first down.
You mentioned the shot to start the day for Kansas. It's been methodical on the other side, and because they've been able to hit some of those passes early, mix in a little bit of Sorsby's legs, now the defense has to account for everything.
The junior signal caller to the air again. Finds a target. Goody's first grab down to the 25-yard line. What they're looking for from Sorsby is, to use the basketball analogy, layups, not threes, and he's taking them here.
He is, and it's all been in that hook area, a lot of digs, a lot of quick hitch-ups, and just methodically going down the field.
17 more on that hook up. Now the design QB run. And he punches down below the 20. That was something that Cincinnati told us they wanted to do to cool off this Kansas defense.
Absolutely. Any time as a defense, especially for pass rushers up front, we mentioned the 13 sacks, the ability to get behind the line of scrimmage for the defense. As a former offensive lineman, I always wanted those guys to have to think for an extra split second. And when you've got to worry about a 235-pound quarterback barreling down at you, it slows the pass rush, it makes you think twice on rushing downs, and it helps everybody else out in this offense.
The Jayhawks just ran on an entirely new defensive front for second down. Run off tackle. They stand it up. Shy of the line again. Walker again. Only Sorsby has more rushing yards than Tawee Walker for these Bearcats. DJ Withers wrapped him up.
Withers doing a great job in his 5th year at Kansas. One of the bodies on the inside, maybe not massive, but 6'4", 300. They've got big enough bodies. They can platoon in waves. They really see the defense as the sum of its parts more than any individual.
Good look from overhead at Evan Pryor, the new tailback. A bunch of 3 to the right of Sorsby, and it's Noah Jennings isolated to his left. Clicks through, hits the crosser. There's Jennings, upended near the 10. 6 for a new first down for Cincinnati.
And it's the confidence Sorsby has in the pocket. His offensive line just gets a 4-man rush, and so he bides his time, pats the football, waits for the route to develop coming from the backside of the formation, and then can calmly step in and deliver. And once again, because you've got the threat of QB1 in the red zone, you can't just all-out blitz to try and pressure him if you're Kansas.
Calm was the word. We just heard some of his swagger mic'd up pregame. We're seeing it from the pocket on this possession. The red zone trip for Cincinnati, trying to stay perfect in their 25 campaign. A flag down as Sorsby takes off and wins the race. Let's see if it stands. For now, and it's an 11-yard touchdown. Home crowd thinks they'll have to snap it again.
Holding, number 77, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
To the Shinda Salam, our referee. Tarantayo's been great Big 12 offensive line of the week for their performance against Bowling Green, but
yep, you see just
here.
Caught on the backside, and this one an RPO run that ends up having a delayed reaction by the quarterback. So he's got the ability to put the ball in the running back's belly or throw it out. He didn't like the pass, and so he makes the smart move of going down. But now for the offensive line, you're a little bit out of phase with the timing of the run, and it can get a little grabby sometimes.
And so final minute of the first. Cincinnati in position to take its first lead. They're behind the chains, but they've got the full complement of downs here. Dropping the arm angle. Cyrus Allen on the receiving end. Brendan Sorsby with a frisbee his way. They get 7 of those penalty yards back.
You can see the little Josh Allen in there, right? Ducking around, working the footballs in. Big body. There are certainly those elements that no doubt project well as a part of his game with what we see from a lot of the great modern quarterbacks who have that dual threat capability.
He's 9 of 13 so far, approaching the 100-yard mark in this opening frame. Warriors standing up as a tight end to his left, 3 receivers to the field. Fading away from pressure. They set up the screen to Pryor, and Kansas is there to trip it up.
And you're going to have another flag down here. It looks like a block in the back out on the perimeter. Great job.
First quarter, albeit 93 seconds of possession for Kansas and a 93-yard touchdown. Sorsby from the pocket, dealing a lot of the numbers again and racing downhill near a first down. Cyrus Allen going to mark him out right at the line to gain 13 on the game.
Sorsby continuing to make layups, and his legs have taken the bite out of the front 7 for this Kansas defense. It's been a lot of 4-man rush, adding a linebacker here and there. But this offensive line for Cincinnati, looking like one of the best in the country early, certainly showed up today.
And of course, it wasn't the line to gain. It was the original line of scrimmage that he was near because of the penalty. So, and 10 from the red zone into the end zone and well defended. Cyrus Allen a target. Saeed Gibbs, who was absorbing the loss of Mason Ellis in the Kansas secondary, running with him. And the Bearcats will have to settle for a field goal try.
And all that being said, time of possession, eating up the clock, moving the ball between the 20s. Kansas, I'm sure, content all day if they can bend but not break in the red zone and force Cincinnati to kick field goals with all the explosive potential on their offense.
It will be a 29-yard try. Max Fletcher, the punter, is the holder. Steven Rusnak. So far 3 for 3 on his field goal attempts this season. Clean operation. And the kick splashes off the net to give the Bearcats on the road their first lead at 10-7. Bleacher Report is your one-stop destination for all things college football. Get live scores, breaking news, and highlights from today's games. Download the BR app today. So you heard Lance Leipold in his 5th season say it's early yet, but yeah, only 4 plays of offense. It feels like this becomes a really critical possession for them to tilt that back in their favor.
No doubt, to just give your defense a rest. Even if they only gave up 3 points on that drive, they've been on the field so much through the first quarter of this game, and so you're going to have to try and manufacture some run plays, get Jalen Daniels on the move a little bit outside the pocket to try and get some of those same layups that Cincinnati's been able to manufacture for Sorsby, just to give your guys a blow on the sideline. Get that first down, and then you can bust off all the fun bells and whistles of this offense.
Cincinnati's drive got a bit sideways there with back-to-back red zone penalties. They gained 61 yards on 11 plays and add a field goal to their total. Let's see if they can avoid Emmanuel Henderson Jr., the electric return man to the top right of your screen there. Let it sail over his shoulder and get it back in the hands of Jalen Daniels. He's in his 5th season with this coaching staff. Jim Zebrowski as his quarterbacks coach, who's also the offensive coordinator, and he pairs with Matt Lubick, who's got some unbelievable history here as well. He coaches the tight ends. We spoke yesterday about their philosophy, how that workflow goes for them, and Zebrowski basically told us, we put our minds together and figure out what does the defense hate? Let's do that.
And you know what opposing defensive coordinators hate is having to prepare for all the looks that a Jayhawk offense coordinated by Jim Zebrowski can throw at you.
Deshaun Williams is the tailback, coming off his first 100-yard game for the Jayhawks. to the 30 on a completion to Levi Wentz, whose 4th and 1 touchdown got it all started last week against West Virginia. He turned it upfield 41 yards for a touchdown.
And you can see right here the ball fake, the motion, everything going east and west to try and open up and mess with the eyes in the middle of this defense. So they get the motion going across there. It opens up an easy gap right in the intermediate to get that first down and reset and refocus. Something Jim Zabrowski talked a lot about with his veteran quarterback, being able to go out and treat every drive like a new opportunity.
4-time captain in his 6th year with Kansas. Gives at the mesh point. That's Le'Shawn Williams breaking through contact. Contact balance indeed. Whirling inside the 40 with a rush of 25 yards.
Big man on the move. Look at the right tackle, Enrique Cruz, going to come around here with a great kick out on the tackle pull. He comes and kicks inside out. Big seam. You and I could have run through that, JB.
Now on the QB draw. Daniels takes it to the outside and needs a block. Slides down. Jake Golday just hammered that lead block. Cam Pickett got run over. Here's Golday.
Jake Golday does a lot of hammering. That is a big, rangy specimen at linebacker for the Bearcats. 6'4", 240, the former Central Arkansas standout, one of the Bruce Feldman Freaks List candidates going into this season. And you see him showing up all over the screen. And now in his 2nd year in this defense can play all over.
Pretty cool. His only FBS offer was Air Force coming out of high school. Now he's on draft boards. Daniels to the sideline and shouldered out cleanly by Antoine Peak Jr. 2nd generation Bearcat. Loss of 3 sets up 3rd and long.
That's one of those moments where for Jalen Daniels, you always want to make a play. This coaching staff talks about how much he wants to go out there and win, not for himself, but for his team. You got to know when the journey's over. There's no reason to take a hit like that when you're this important to the team. There's no reason to give up even a little bit of yardage when you could just sail that ball out of bounds and live to fight the next snap.
He absorbed a big one here last week against West Virginia on a targeting foul. He was able to play through it. Carson Broom, the tight end, motions into a trip set. Kansas from the fringe area. Going vertical. And they hit it. Pickett run out of bounds near the 10. He's playing at less than 100%. He's on a bit of a pitch count. There is a flag back in the pocket. For now, it's a 27-yard gain.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 31, defense, goal to the quarterback's head. The penalty is half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Simeon Coleman on the Cincinnati side.
Great job getting pressure in the backfield. You see him able to beat Enrique Cruz, but then just follows through. And anytime you hit the quarterback, the helmet of the quarterback in the pocket, that's going to be an easy flag. But on the backside, that pressure up front means you had one-on-one. And again, a great job by these quarterbacks of finding the advantageous matchup for Pickett, who's working his way back in, as you said.
That's a huge flip from being in a negative down and distance across midfield to now set up with angle from the 6. At the mesh point, QB keeper. Good pursuit by the Bearcats, who were not fooled. Jaquan Sanks arriving. I'll limit Daniels to a couple.
Sanks a great young player for them. Last year was the first true freshman to start in the opener for Cincinnati since 2015. Got 5 starts under his belt. And you saw the comfort there. Misdirection, wasn't fooled, read his keys, and as soon as he saw it, pulled the trigger coming downhill and took down the quarterback.
Loss of 2 takes the Jayhawks back to the 7-yard line. Sean Williams in the backfield with Daniels. Sets the laces, sits in the pocket, and airmails it to the back pylon. It's 3rd and goal. Emmanuel Henderson Jr. in the vicinity. Cincinnati just had to settle for 3 in their red zone trip. Kansas trying to recapture the lead.
For Henderson, being down here in the low red zone kind of mitigates some of that speed advantage here. You're working with tighter windows. That's always the difficulty. And so going toward that pylon is always about timing. Physical play from this secondary for Cincinnati. That for Tyson Veit, the D coordinator, cut from that Iowa State cloth. Want to keep everything in front of you, rally and tackle.
8th play of the Kansas drive. That was aided by the personal foul. Daniels wants to do it himself. Over the 5, but shut down by Golday. run the field goal unit on to try and tie the game.
Great job by Golday. Both teams aware of the quarterback's legs down near the red area. And we asked them, do you spy a quarterback this talented? And this defense kind of has that built in. And a guy with Golday's range and athletic ability, a great candidate for that.
Laith Marjan, who had the serendipitous story of getting cut from his soccer team as a teenager, found football to stay in shape, and he's turned it into a college career. This will be a 21-yard attempt, looking for his 6th make of 2025. Cincinnati celebrating the pre-snap infraction
Delay of game.
for delay of game.
Offense, 5-yard penalty. The try will be attempted from the 8-yard line.
Not sure it doesn't improve the angle a little bit for Marjan, but we'll see what the final outcome is as it becomes a 26-yard attempt. Came to KU after stints at East Carolina and South Alabama. To tie it up. 10 apiece here in the
Frothing at the mouth to order appetizers the way Lauren Jabara was last night.
It was incredible, you guys. I've never tasted anything better than Kansas City barbecue, I have to say.
It looked like they missed a face mask there on the carry for Walker, but he still barges ahead for 9. Yeah, thanks to Andy Aish and Daniel Burke from Kansas and many others. Zach Stipe and David Cohen, sports information director from Cincinnati, for their contributions as well.
Just looks like a clear miss there by Leroy Harris on the face mask.
2nd and shorts. No problem for Walker. He lowers his pads and pushes up to the 40-yard line.
They're really lulling him to sleep right now, daring Kansas to go and load up the box again as you see some fresh bodies coming on the field in this wide receiver room. And so Kansas will counter and get some fresh legs up front to try and stymie this offensive line. Again, Gavin Gerhardt, your captain, 3 times over in his 6th year at Cincinnati. A great leader up front for this slab of beef.
Sorsby stands in. And that's complete. Across midfield, Jennings a lunging catch for a 1st down.
Awesome job again. Clean pockets. That's been the story of the day. You can run it here. 4-man pressure. You end up dropping the end out to run with the running back. There's been a lot of man-to-man that Brendan Sorsby's done a really good job of reading, reacting, and putting the ball where only his receiver can get it.
Jennings, a former FCS Charleston Southern contributor, making his way to the Big 12. And the Bearcats possession already across the 50-yard line. Play fake. Sorsby on platform. Layers this one in. Oh, a big hit at the end of it, but it's complete to the 20. Caleb Goody hangs on with a flag down. And Jalen Dye stepping into the void left by his brother Devin Dye with the hit. For now, it's a 29-yard pickup.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 2, defense. The penalty is declined. The result of the play is a 1st down.
So another chunk play through the air for this Cincinnati offense.
Big time. Cincinnati used the snap count to get a good look at the defense. They saw that pressure coming off the right side, and so they dial up the throwback. The wheel route from Caleb Goody going that way. Big time. Hey, great job holding on to the ball through that catch, looks it in, takes the hit. And I'm sure the hold happened on the double move back there just to try and save what you saw. A great play to get them into the red zone.
Jalen Dye's brother, Devin Dye, unable to play this 1st half because of a targeting call. Sorsby shooting for the end zone as the blitz arrived. We'll take it to 2nd down. Caldwell was his target.
Caldwell sort of stopped short on that play. DJ Graham had him locked up on the outside, and he just assumed the ball wasn't coming his way. You saw him sort of throttle down. You might not always get there, but you want to see him go out and continue to compete for the catch. He's such an incredible athlete. He made such an impression early on in camp and in the offseason. Another Bruce Feldman's freaks list guy, an 11-9 broad jump, just absurd.
Jayhawks coming after Sorsby again to the 10. Be close to another 1st down. Caleb Goody, very much part of UC's desire to add speed to their receiver room. He's been clocked at 22.4 miles per hour.
Unbelievable. Had 6 catches of 30 or more yards last year. So big play potential on both sides. That was really the first look we got of it for Cincinnati. We know play 1 for Kansas had it, but now they've also established if you fall asleep at the wheel, if you bite up on the run, we've got what it takes to go over the top.
See Royer, the tight end, next to Sorsby, and Evan Pryor behind him in the pistol. QB's got it. Flips to the pylon. A laser for a touchdown. Cyrus Allen puts Cincinnati back on the high side.
JB, this all has to do with the legs of Brendan Sorsby. When we get a look before this play, you're going to see Cyrus Allen. So he's a big motion guy for this team. They're going to bring him cross and lead out in front. And then Sorsby is going to go with the QB keeper, the read option, get him on the perimeter. And it looks like you're getting a block from Cyrus Allen on the second level, but he ducks pass, and Sorsby able to deliver a great accurate strike on the run.
Fourth touchdown of the season for Cyrus Allen. He's got at least 3 catches in every game as a Bearcat. And they answer back with a touchdown drive of 7 plays and 75 yards in just under 3 minutes.
The big reason why Cincinnati has come out and looked so comfortable on offense and had everything available to them.
Rusnak playing a big game of keep away versus Emmanuel Henderson Jr., who did score on a 93-yard receiving touchdown to begin this day for Kansas, but has been stifled in the return game thus far. Jalen Daniels back to work, 4 of 6 for 138 and a touchdown.
I think Henderson, you got to try and get him back involved in the down in, down out offense again. Give this Cincinnati defense something to worry about. Tyson Veit, one of those guys coming from that coaching tree at Iowa State, the 3-3-5 defense that wants to put the lid on defenses, was part of the shift in the Big 12 from a pace and space league to one where defense was always on the menu.
There's an option look and a pressure. Daniels disappears. Now he's got a lead block. Scrambling to the 30. Unbelievable. Brian Sims finally tracks him down, but it looked like a huge loss as Jalen Hunt and Jake Golday whiffed on Daniels.
Just wiggled out of the straitjacket on this play. Plenty of designed fakes, but the protection breaks down. And so Houdini went to work. The Cincinnati staff said Jalen Daniels is so good at times he can get that offense by accident. And just a great job finishing on that play by Calvin Clements, the left tackle on Jake Golday.
Enabled Daniels to get out the side door for 17 yards. Does give here. And a muddy run for a couple from Le'Shawn Williams. No Daniel Highshaw today in the Jayhawks offense, so they're missing part of their running back tandem.
Williams, though, really productive player in college already. One of these guys that comes over with a great resume, led Iowa in rushing yards in 2023 with 821. And we saw that Jalen Daniels' rushing effect of, hey, it's more in the scramble game than the design stuff that you usually see. What a big backbreaker against defenses.
That was Henderson, the star receiver, coming out of the backfield first. Now Cam Pickett in motion at the snap. A late rush arise. And again, Daniels gets skinny through it. Takes off for more to the 40 and a first down. 16 more on that scramble for JD6.
End up with a 5-man pressure here, and a great job, you're right, just being able to squeak through that A-gap. Strong in his own right, 6 foot, 220, and an experienced player. Healthy again, a couple of years removed now from the back injuries that really robbed him of so much of that 2023 season. And that ability to break contain once again, pivotal for Kansas on this drive.
Bryce Foster, the center, with his hand on it. Second team All Big 12 selection. An All-American for the track and field team as well. Daniels with his eyes downfield as the pocket pushed onto his lap. Able to connect at the 10. Bryson Canty with 30 yards through the air.
You see Canty start on this side, going for the deep cross in the back end of this. And a great job by Daniels. You want that route going vertically and then let the quarterback throw you back to it. He comes back to the football, makes a great catch to set them up down inside the 10.
Canty, the 2-time first-team All-Ivy selection at Columbia. The type of vertical threat the Ivy League hadn't seen since our producer Burt Bondi was starring at Columbia. He sets up first and goal here. Put the bunch into the boundary, and 1 week stood up near the 5.
JB, I'd never heard of this. Another run behind this Kansas offensive line that we've talked about going into this game. You mentioned the two-sport star, Bryce Foster. They were named the Big 12 Beef of the Week after rushing for 207 yards versus Fresno State. I had no idea that was a thing. Shame on me. Very proud of the Big 12 for having their hearts and stomachs in the right place.
Oh, I thought you made that a thing. I thought that was strictly for you coming along. But the QB in the running game. Uh-oh, the pitch goes astray. And Kansas better hope that it got out of bounds. It did. Well, you saw Golde closing on it, hunting that fumble.
And again, trying to avoid the disaster play has been a big teaching point for Jalen Daniels. Speed option to the perimeter, and he's already tied up. You got to just understand and go down there. You end up a little bit out of phase because you're trying to shrug off a tackler and almost give Cincinnati a chance to kick the football away.
Knocked off track. Now it's 3rd and goal. To the end zone. Incomplete. Looking for Levi Wentz at 6'2", and that was Matthew McDoom, who gave up the early touchdown, competing all the way through the pass breakup.
Honestly, could have got offensive pass interference there. You saw Wentz pulling on the back of the jersey from McDoom.
I beg your pardon, that's 8 rolled up. It looked like 0, but it's Ormani Arnold. Let's give credit to the junior corner from Long Beach for forcing this 35-yard Marjan trot.
Bubble numbers are tough.
He's already been good from 26 off the right hash. Narrowly knocks it through. Remains a 1-score deficit for Kansas as they settle for 13 to go in the half, knowing that the Bearcats will kick it away to Kansas to begin the 3rd quarter. And a touchback to set up this Sorsby possession. Saturday night is all right for a fight. Brace yourself for All Elite Wrestling Collision tonight at 8 on TNT and HBO Max. A Big 12 collision today between the Bearcats, who are back in the KC area for the 2nd time this season after falling at Arrowhead in the opener against Nebraska. Their only blemish, their league opener against Kansas, and they're in front by 4.
Both these teams, I think, seeing the benefits of testing yourself the way they both have early in the season. A rivalry game for Kansas against Missouri where, yeah, you lose, but throw toe-to-toe, blow for blow the entire game.
Be clapping for the snap. Nice meandering run for Tawi Walker. And I think Cincinnati, as much as anything, has done a good job taking the crowd out of this one. They've not had to use their silent count despite the sellout crowd here in Kansas.
No, and that's big time because it's allowed them to at times use a double cadence, get a look at the defense, try and get Kansas and DK McDonald to tip their hand a little bit so your quarterback has even more information.
Trying to squeeze more points out of what's left in this opening half and doing it with their running game. This one stacked up after a gain of only a yard. Walker returned to sender. Blake Harrell doing his part, a sophomore defensive tackle. If you're Kansas, you're thinking you get a stop here. You may be able to double dip going into the half and receiving the 3rd quarter kick.
Swinging the middle 8, we hear about it all the time. That last 4 minutes of the first half, that first 4 of the second half, especially when you're the team coming out of the halftime locker room with the ball. It can really break open a game, and we know how tightly contested all these conference games are in the Big 12, and that can be the difference.
Does not look like Cincinnati wants to stop it. They'll bleed clock as we head to the 2-minute timeout presented by the Wells Fargo Active Cash Card.
Hey, Marty, I got us what's known as a luxury.
On 3rd down and 4. Brendan Sorsby, a dual threat quarterback in his junior season for Cincinnati. Jayhawks creeping. They do bring the pressure. He options around it, pulls his own number, and is bent back. Denied on 3rd down by this Kansas defense. Taylor Davis, the sophomore safety, sending Sorsby off gingerly.
Yeah, that's the bigger concern. We're going to see the speed option going this way with Sorsby. He calls his own number. He's got the time and room. A great job tracking inside out and gets bent awkwardly at the bottom of the pile there. But Kansas then can burn that time out And now with a minute 55 left, you're going to bring the punt team out. This isn't like we had earlier where you get to 4th and 1 or less and maybe feel comfortable risking it. Cincinnati's going to punt this, and now all of a sudden, Jalen Daniels going to have a little under 2 minutes, 2 timeouts in his pocket, and a chance to break this thing open.
Just judging by body language, good to see Sorsby feeling well enough to hop up. A leading rusher and passer for the visitors here today. Now Max Fletcher, who follows his brother Mason, his predecessor, one of the Bearcats' all-time greats at punter. Max is 12th in the nation in net punting, trying to flip this field. Nagy signals fair catch, and he takes it on the 15-yard line. You know, hear so much about his dad. I get it. Well, Mom Stacy. Way to go, Stacy, raising Tate and Braden, who's also here at KU. Jackson Jett. Moms don't get enough love.
They don't get enough love. Shout out to moms everywhere. You're all doing a great job. Your kids love you dearly, and we're sorry that we make life so difficult sometimes.
All right, first half drives for KU. 93 yards on a big bolt to begin the day. Their last 3 drives, they've run 20 plays for 129 yards and only come away with 6 points. But here's a chance, like we said, to double dip. They won the coin toss, elected to defer. Can they also score going into the half and maybe capture the lead before they do? Daniels retreats. Great protection. And a helmet high catch at the 40 by Emmanuel Henderson Jr., who delivered that 93-yard sprint for the game's opening touchdown. This one measures 24.
And just a great job. This is selling the go ball, right? Emmanuel Henderson goes deep on you early, able to stutter his feet at full speed and toe drag swag for the first down.
Against the captain, Logan Wilson. Jayhawks moving quickly. They'll put it on the ground, and Williams is shouldered down. And Jalen Hunt with the hit. 90 seconds to go in the first.
But a great reminder there, with a minute 30 and change ticking off the clock and 2 timeouts, you can still run plenty of your offense.
Daniel 6 of 9 through the air and looking for more here. Rolling to extend his play. Was really looking for Cam Pickett there. He was the target, but I think that was more Daniels heeding your advice to live to see another down.
And a smart move, because we had seen the sideline judge and the referee crew throw his hat down, which meant that receiver had stepped out of bounds and would have been illegal touching if he'd have come in and made that reception. So saved the Jayhawks plenty of yards on that play.
Third down today has not been kind to really either team. The Jayhawks in particular, only 1 of 4. Long way to go. Third down, they need 8. As always, the quarterback's cleats are a weapon for both of these programs. Daniels reading it out, searching, exhausting, moving the chains. He comes open late, and a flag flies in. 26 on the game to pick up 3rd and 8. Cincinnati seems to think this infraction is against Kansas.
Illegal touching, number 11, offense. The player went out of bounds on his...
We talked about both the programs having great punting programs, and here's another one with Finn Lappin, who leads the Big 12 in punting average. Manny Covey, the return man, and a long wait for the go-ahead here. Here's a look at Lappin, the senior from Melbourne, Australia.
Cincinnati takes their second charge time out of the half.
We got a quick look at the last play and the penalty. So you're going to see Canty, the middle of 3, down in the bottom of the formation here. And just watch him trying to go for the out route on the sideline, and just drifts a little too far at the end of this play, steps out of bounds. And it's one thing if you're pushed by a defender and then can establish yourself back in the field of play, then you can go ahead and make it. But with no defender in sight, no one forcing him out of bounds.
Situation here.
And so Cincinnati now, after that, only 1 timeout left for this 1-minute drill that'll be coming up after the punt.
Now Lappin gets the go-ahead. And he's punting it away to Manny Covey, who was listed as questionable, part of the running back room for Cincinnati. racing over. He takes it at his 12. Good blocks initially. No flags down. Bursting to daylight. Manny Covey. All gas. No brakes. Touchdown, Cincinnati. 88 yards. There is a flag down. Buried all the way on the near sideline.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 8, receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down, Cincinnati.
A brutal blow after what looked like an excellent return. Punter slips in the middle of it to give the breakaway. I always feel for the return man who runs all that way, gets ready to get hyped with his teammate, and then turns around. And this Cincinnati crew looking up at the replay of this on the board, wondering where the penalty is.
So the flag was back at the 12-yard line and squeezed all the way up against the sideline.
Let's see if we can get a look at it right here. Right here. Which, man, didn't feel egregious enough to feel the flag. I get his hands were technically on his back, but seemed like he was in phase and just sort of able to run him by. Usually you only see that flag come out if a guy ends up going down.
Curious to see what the Cincinnati appetite is here. Now with a long field, trapped at your own 6 with 47 seconds remaining. A chunk run would help. Pryor gets around the corner and tiptoes the sideline above the 20.
I was just going to say, usually in that situation, you'll give a token handoff. You see if you can pop a run like that. And because your back gets out of bounds, doing a great job just getting to the edge of this defensive front. And more importantly, fending off the tackler to get out of bounds and stop the clock, so they've still got the timeout. Now you can think about taking a shot downfield here and seeing if there's anything that comes of it.
A shout out to the left tackle there. You saw big 74 Joe Cotton, top offensive line target in the portal for the Bearcats, making that run possible. Stick it in the belly of Pryor again. The 28. And the clock rolling with the pickup of 5. Someone spending the timeout here. Was it Cincinnati?
Cincinnati takes their third and final charge timeout of the half.
Again, knowing they have to boot it away to begin the third quarter, kicking off to Kansas, the Jayhawks' home yard.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised given what a good job Sorsby's done commanding the offense the exact way you'd want in the 2-minute drill, right? That ability to attack the seams, find players breaking towards the sidelines. He's done a good job in the intermediate game. All that combined with, oh, by the way, if he gets a big seam before when they had that timeout to burn, could still take off and run it, stop the clock with a first down. I'm a little surprised after that chunk run they weren't more aggressive.
They still need about 35 yards to attempt what they would consider a reasonable field goal here going into the half. So 30 to 35 to gain with 32 seconds left and now no timeouts. Sorsby's first half, 14 of 20 passing, 169 and a touchdown. He's also rushed for 29 yards with a long of 10. Content to maybe run this out. They're going to force the safety level to tackle. Pryor busts one. And he's going to get him all the way there to the 25 in field goal range. That's not a give-up run. That's a go-get-it carry for Evan Pryor. 47 yards.
The 2-minute spread run game, and it looked like there might have been another missed face mask on this. Again, a light box look, no one there to set the edge. And he goes past. You see that jolt from Lyric Rawls coming down at safety on the tackle.
Good eyes, Mike. The 2 that have been missed in this first half. Evan Pryor, no worse for wear. He's going to stay in the game, and now Sorsby's got 23 seconds to take his shots. Pocket is there, dealing right side. Once again, sticky coverage from Austin Alexander. Chest to chest with Noah Jennings, the target.
Austin Alexander's been a one-man no-fly zone today. We've seen them try him on multiple D-balls, and he's running the route for the receiver every step of the way. He's been phenomenal.
Now that 28-yard scoop and score at Missouri. His first defensive touchdown arrived as a 4-star recruit of Hazel Crest, Illinois. He and Jalen Todd replacing small Big 12 corners and Kobe Bryant and Mello Dotson. 18 seconds, no timeouts left for Sorsby in Cincinnati. Against a four-man rush, knocked off his spots. Able to hit the crosser, but now the clock becomes a factor.
And you see Sorsby trying to get them to the line to get up and just spike this.
And he puts it down with 2 seconds remaining for a field goal attempt going to the locker room for Stephen Rusnak. 68 yards on the ground for Evan Pryor, a senior from North Carolina by way of Ohio State, to make this all possible.
And just poor perimeter tackling by Kansas on that drive. DK McDonald's going to have a lot to coach up at halftime. Those were runs where Cincinnati just wanted to get to the half, and you end up gifting them an opportunity for three.
Rusnak's long this season, 45 yards. This is 43. Timeout off the Kansas sideline. You a freeze the kicker guy?
Unless they don't roll over, so you might as well.
Once again, Max Fletcher, the punter, is his holder from the right hash. 43 yards going to the break for Stephen Rusnak. He punished it, no doubt about it. And back to a full touchdown lead after 2 here in Lawrence. To defer their choice to the second half, so they will receive down a touchdown as we pick it up at 20-13 Bearcats. Down to the field, here is Lauren Jabara.
Thanks so much, JB. I talked to Kansas head coach Lance Leipold at halftime, and he said, look, the message to the team, we just were not sound at all that first half. He said, I want to see better consistency on both sides of the ball, defensively, completing those tackles, offensively, making the runs that you need to, getting their run game going. He said for Jalen, he just needs to settle down a little bit. We get into a rhythm, and then it gets broken up. He said he has the talent, he has the heart. We trust him as our leader. I said, Lance, biggest key now, he said, we're just going to see what type of team we have in the second half, guys.
All right, Daniels, the only quarterback in FBS with a start in each of the last 6 seasons with the same program. To begin the third quarter, they move his pocket, and they hit the crosser. Oh, no, it's dropped. Emmanuel Henderson flashing color to Daniels, and just could not reel it in.
Just over the outstretched arms, right through his hands, and it was a great play design, a little delayed rollout to get your quarterback comfortable on the move and try and get an easy completion to start.
Henderson, a 94-yard kick return touchdown to open the second half last week against West Virginia. A 93-yard touchdown reception to open this game against Cincinnati. Design QB run. Daniels using his stiff arm, fighting with Logan Wilson out on that edge, and they spill into the Cincinnati sideline.
And getting this crowd a little fired up. You love to see the big fellows over there giving their quarterback the police escort back from the enemy sideline onto the field after he goes and fires up that bench, getting physical on this run. And you're going to see right here, you're going to get all the motion, all the action going this way out of the backfield. So what do? For that way, you call QB counter the other way. Now, great job by Logan Wilson staying home to make a play, but your quarterback, we talked about Jalen Daniels, 220 himself, physical, thick build.
Antoine Peak Jr. cleaning up there late on the white paint of the sideline. Got away with it. Leaving 3rd down and 3 from a 2-back set. Ronan Gruen in the backfield. Since he jumps on that edge, but back on side. 3rd down rep for Daniels. Touch pass. 1st down catch this time. Jake Golday delivers the hit again, but it's a pickup of 5 yards for Henderson, who hangs on this time.
Great job. You're just going to get a mesh route. So Henderson's coming across. He's the underneath round here. A little natural rub, finds the space, and then survives the hit. Quite honestly, great job by Golday with those kind of collisions where it's a quick one sprung on the backer. Sometimes that's where you can see targeting call with the receiver coming from that backside. He goes chest up and brings him down.
Big 12's leading tackler. 1 minute into the 3rd. Daniels off the play fake. Clean pocket. Clean throw. Midfield. Henderson moves the chains. Christian Harrison in coverage makes the tackle. It's an easy stroke for 16 yards.
Love them going right back to him. Hard play action sell. You pull the tight end and the offensive guard, so everyone's eyes are brought down. You see number 5, Christian Harrison, the safety, backpedaling, trying to bail out after already biting up on that run fake.
Kansas on offense has been really good coming out of the halftime locker room. They have scored on all 4 of their first drives of the third quarter this season. 3 of those marches have been touchdowns, and looking to get back to level against Cincinnati here. Again, play action. They roll the pocket. It's a tough throw. They're looking for Cam Pickett, who runs out of room. Second down.
Kansas getting some fresh bodies in that receiver room that, again, lost 98% of its receiving yards from the 2024 season. But Jim Zebrowski and this offense do a really good job of using all those motions. You see the tight end split out wide, motion him back in to show your quarterback. Is it man? Is it zone? Do you have backers and safeties running with them to try and give them easy spots, manipulating the space of the D?
Daniels against the blitz. Oh, they screen behind it. Doug Emillion steps through one. And downhill to the 32-yard line with a fresh set of downs. Well-timed screen from Kansas for 15 yards.
Perfect job popping that in. You're going to see him come from off the screen right here. But then a great job by him. Jaquan Sanks wiggles his way through the offensive lineman. He's able to make one miss and get them a nice first down. And this is where I think you pull out your best stuff. Take a shot at the end zone here. You've got enough space to still make use of the wheels on the outside. Henderson not on the field, but still plenty of guys they can send deep for a team that loves play action.
Daniels has completed passes to 15 different Jayhawks this season.
And Daniels is out wide right now.
New quarterback in the game, Cole Ballard. Behind his block. Ballard close to another first down. A sophomore in his 3rd year in Lawrence. One of the program's best leaders, we're told, and we see some of the toughness on display.
And Jalen Daniels is all the way out wide, so you've got both quarterbacks on the field. A rep of that for the defense to consider. But then same idea, you bring the motion this way, and then quarterback run this way with the lead by the running back, the lead by your offensive lineman, Enrique Cruz, pulling around. And now the defense has to think twice the next time they see that, setting up another trick.
It's such a specialty package. They saw Harry Stewart in at tailback, even though it's been mostly Le'Shawn Williams without Daniel Highshot today. Oh, a seam ball. 24 yards for Bowden Gruen for the 2nd week in a row. He hits pay dirts.
And he hits the dab. I didn't know we were still doing that in 2025. An incredible job, and this is all the misdirection that we usually see that ends with a lot of room for tight end wheels, guys leaking out late in the play, and a great throw up the seam by Jalen Daniels to bring it home.
Kean Burnett joined Kansas for the spring. He's an Arizona tight end. He reverted back to Tucson, and so they went out and got Gruen from Rice, and he's been the biggest surprise of a deep tight end room here in Lawrence now. Marjan to tie it up. Another touchdown to begin the second half for Kansas. Daniels dealing over the shoulder of his 6'4" tight end. Modern day product out of Southern California.
And this all about the eye candy. Watch the motion man by the eyes of these 2 defenders and allow Gruen to sneak up the seam right here for a great pass by Jalen Daniels on this play. They both bite down on the fake. Gruen's wide open and a great over-the-shoulder catch off the ball from his quarterback.
And that's just it. To run all the window dressing, you have to have someone you trust at the switch.
100%. And all that time under task with Jalen at the helm of this offense pays off in pivotal red zone moments.
Logan Wilson, the return man for Cincinnati, will step up to his 3. He'll have a chance. Veering to his right and taking contact at the 18-yard line. So a tying touchdown from Kansas, and then importantly, they get their highest-graded defender back for this second half. Devin Dye, their senior safety, was disqualified last week in the 3rd quarter for a hit he made against West Virginia. Now he's good to go in a fresh game.
And that's huge. Fresh legs to try and slow down what's been a very potent passing offense led by Brendan Sorsby so far today, especially in that intermediate range where you can get help from the safety room.
The two teams separated by 1 yard of total offense. 3:24 now for the Jayhawks to 3:23 for Cincinnati. Tyree Walker is the back. Charges above the 20 and falls a length of his body to the 25-yard line. 7 on first down for Walker.
In first downs, an area they've done really well so far today. And we talked to Brad Glenn, their offensive coordinator, said everyone focuses on our third down numbers. It's really about being more efficient. Can you get 5 yards or more on first down 50% or more of the time and put you in a lot more manageable third downs when they do finally show up?
Watch Royer here in a 2-point stance next to his right tackle. He's been relatively quiet as part of a productive offensive day. The double move, slicing inside to midfield. Cyrus Allen from Brendan Sorsby. It's a pickup of 24 yards.
And JB, you called his number out here. Watch the attention that Royer draws going out into the flat from everyone on defense that frees up the space for the receiver there. Safeties and everyone bite down, and all of a sudden you've got a guy open in that second window along the sideline.
I meant for our audience to watch Royer, not necessarily the defense of Kansas, just to be fair to the Jayhawks. Deep drop off the play fake. Sorsby sets his feet and drills one to the sideline. It's Cyrus again. Into the red zone as his lid pops off. Allen's been everywhere.
I guess if at first you do succeed, just try again. It was a very similar route. You've got Royer going over to the flat, and then he makes a great move along the sideline in front of Lyric Walls, excuse me, and gets a great play. Helmet comes off, so he's got to come out for the play. But he's gotten them down into the red area once again, where this offensive line and your quarterback's legs and running ability become a big-time threat for this Kansas defense.
A gain of 37 more. Taking his place in the left slot here is Isaiah Johnson. And an on-field stoppage.
Cincinnati takes their first charge time out of the half. 30 seconds in late.
League, great coaches, and so games are going to come down to health, how hard you play on game day, and winning on the margins. One of those margins is the red zone, and that's where they've been so efficient this season. Tyree Walker is the tailback. The tight end in motion. Sorsby sets his feet at the numbers and launches out of bounds. The field side Sweets get a target. Second down.
Smart play by Sorsby. Nothing there. Design rollout. All the routes going that way. Kansas sniffed it out. And that's what both staffs echoed with these quarterbacks. Live to play the next down, and these guys have shown that veteran ability to resist the urge. Right? You're a competitor like everyone else at quarterback. You want to believe you can make every throw. You want to give your guys a chance for the ball. And a younger player is so thirsty for those opportunities, they sometimes put the ball in harm's way.
The previous play is under review to determine if there was a foul for targeting.
Okay, so our officials will stop it to see if there was a targeting foul.
Let's keep our eyes on Sorsby in the pocket. So again, design rollout here. Bengali Kamara is the one that was closing late. And so again, targeting we know has two definitions, right? A crouch, a thrust, or an upward motion to the head or neck of a defenseless player, or a hit with the crown of the helmet. And you can see right here, the crown of that helmet going into the head and neck of the quarterback, who's not in the pocket where he's a defenseless player, but still looks like it could meet that definition of targeting.
Kamara's body language telling the story right now. He was just starting to get healthy here at the end of the month, playing with the speed and the physicality that Kansas was hoping to see from this senior from Akron, who arrived after a year at South Carolina and then 4 at Pitt. He missed the game against Wagner, was limited at Missouri. See if he's taken off the field again for targeting, just as Kansas adds Devin Dye back into the mix at safety for his foul last week. If he's disqualified here and the call on the field is an examination for targeting, he's also missed the first half of next week's game. They're looking to start 4-0 at home. Here are the Jayhawks, but they go to Orlando and Lubbock next on their schedule.
And again, the crown of that helmet.
After review, it has been determined that number 1 for Kansas committed a foul for targeting. Number 1 has been disqualified. The penalty is half the distance to the goal. It's an automatic first down.
Kansas loses a linebacker with 9:43 to go in the third.
John Kamara is going to get an uptick as we see a frustrated Bengali Kamara on the sideline. And you feel for him, by no means a devastating hit, but also out in the open with the quarterback rolled out directly in front of the officials. The crown of his helmet clearly making that contact to the head or neck. And so he's gone. And now this is where you worry as we get another look right here. So again, that crown of the helmet up into the head of Sorsby. And to me, that's unfortunately an easy call for the officiating crew. And now with a linebacker substituted down here, albeit one that's played in John Kamara, you still keep your eyes on number 11, Joe Royer, lined up at the end of the line on the left-hand side for a mismatch in this area.
The foul takes the Bearcats to 1st and goal. Sorsby, off play action. Long time to look to the end zone and hit. Caleb Goody on the receiving end. Touchdown Bearcats with a marker down. Flag back at the 20.
Holding, number 56, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
DeAndre Buford has been in a tackle platoon on the right side with Ethan Green. So wipe away the touchdown. The score remains tied at 20.
Hard play action, sell up front, and the roll for the quarterback going back to the right, so put your right tackle in the compromised position. I hate that call personally. We see trap blocks, that's what you call when you kind of take the arms of the defender down and take them to the bottom, called holding way too often, and I think incorrectly in college football.
All right, so now taken off the doorstep, they'll try and run some of it back. A determined carry by Walker, but Lyric Rawls holds the point of attack for KU. This is the type of game where bending but not breaking, 3s instead of 7, could go a long way to determining the final outcome.
Yep, we've seen this Kansas defense bend but not break, and Bo up there, you get an assist again on a call that I disagree with, but after the ejection of one of your linebackers, to have the resolve to go out here and try and force a 3rd and long here on 2nd and 15.
Sorsby always a run threat, especially in the red zone. Using his arm here, and he's on the money. Sorsby, a strike to Cyrus Allen. They connect for another touchdown, and the Bearcats rebuild their lead.
Had Cyrus Allen doing a great job working from inside in the slot right here. Runs that corner route matched up with the safety, and that foot speed battle has advantaged Cyrus Allen every time. Great call, great read against man coverage. Touchdown, Cincinnati.
He's got his 4th and his 5th touchdown receptions of the season here today. His 8th grab this afternoon is a new career high, and the extra point makes it a 27-20 game.
Brendan Sorsby's been dealing all day long down in the red zone when his team needs him the most. He hooks up with Cyrus Allen again. 27-20 Bearcats here in the 3rd. Cyrus Allen in this receiving core today for Cincinnati. A couple of great plays along the sideline. 8 catches, 115 yards, and his 2nd touchdown of the day coming on a great ball in the corner of the end zone. One of the difference-making transfers in this Bearcats wide receiver room. He's made a huge impact today.
If you do some air math on those numbers, he's exceeded his A&M totals from last season in 4 games as a Bearcat, with still a quarter and change to go. The Cyrus Show here in Lawrence, and let's see what answer Jalen Daniels and the Jayhawks have after they scored a touchdown coming out of the locker room to begin this 2nd half.
These offenses going toe-to-toe right now. Misdirection, play action shots, wheel routes up the sideline. The tight end usage for Kansas, the tight end as somewhat of a disguise or a decoy for Cincinnati with all the attention on Joe Royer. It's been a fun chess match on the field.
Oh, it's just great to see Daniels out there on family weekend here in Lawrence. His coaching staff had said that most guys, given what he's been through, would have quit a long time ago. He's here in year 6. Nice catch. Henderson off to the races with a vapor trail behind him. He burns Tatum Barnes for 75.
The scoreboard operator, I hope he got food at halftime, because he's going to be busy, it appears, in this second half. Emmanuel Henderson heard us talking about all those air yards on the other side for Cyrus Allen and said, hey, remember me from play 1? I'm back.
Humble and hardworking is how they describe him. An inspiration to KU's younger wide receivers in terms of how to go about it every day.
And this just a nice, easy zone read RPO, where you're going to have the handoff fake right in here. You've got the guy coming in motion, and Daniels just looks down, sees the defender bite up, and actually hits the ball behind. A really acrobatic play by Henderson to reach back, catch that ball behind him, spin, and almost not break stride here at all. And just unfortunately, Tatum Barnes' feet get tangled up right there really awkwardly, made him touch grass.
I think the off-frame throw is what got Tatum Barnes out of the picture. I think he reacted to a ball and maybe having a chance to pick it, and instead gets dusted.
You mentioned the impact a guy like Henderson has coming over. We hear so many people talk about the transfer portal and would guys come over and be able to assimilate in the locker room, but this staff under Lance Leipold believes they've scouted the character of these guys really well, and they raved about Henderson. On the other side, about Finkley, who we haven't talked about much, but is a captain in his first year on campus here in Lawrence. And they said these guys have come in, and you see the work habits instilled at places like Alabama, at Texas, that make them a great example for the young players in this room and have allowed them to come in and be key contributors on and off the field.
Steven Sims back in 17, the last Kansas player with a 200-yard receiving game. Land in the end zone, just across the goal line for a touchdown. Let's check in with Lauren down on our sideline.
Guys, I was standing behind that Kansas bench after that touchdown. Jalen Daniels comes into his receiving core and he said, guys, they want a shootout. That's exactly what we're giving them. They want a shootout. That is exactly what we're giving them. A 4-year captain for this team, and you see why that leadership goes a long way.
You love that, and they talk all the time about refocus, reset, going back over to the sideline, and understanding, hey, no matter what the score is, the offense, our job is to go out every drive and believe we can go put points on the board. And they've shown today that respect well earned for what they've put together offensively.
All right, so Daniels with his 3rd, Sorsby with a couple through the air as well. Cincinnati has also rushed for a touchdown. Evan Pryor helped them capture a field goal going to the break. He lines up in the pistol here. 3-runner coming after Sorsby. And for the first time this season, he is sacked. Blake Harold has the honor.
Great setup. We've seen the boot action all day, and so this time, Kansas brings a man off the backside, and a great job staying home, understanding the boot's been on the menu. Sorsby's got great wheels. We've documented that. Great discipline by Blake Harold on the backside of this defense.
Harold coming off a career-high 7 tackles last week in the win over West Virginia and a fumble recovery. Now grabs his first sack. Sorsby looking to bounce back. Gets out the side door, hurdles, and carries to the 23. What a stud.
Oh, the hurdle in traffic right there. Don't think Austin Alexander saw that on the scouting report. He goes low on the big quarterback to try and make a play, and a great read to set up a 3rd and long.
John Kamara with that shoulder hit, leaving 3rd down and 13. Jayhawks coming off an explosive touchdown, and then a sack from their defense, trying to get off the field. Sorsby hangs in and delivers. Oh, what a catch! Joe Royer paid the price, but hangs on for 21. Taylor Davis undercut the big tight end.
And we got a Jayhawk down on the field right now. But watch Joe Royer here working in the middle of 3. Just goes up, sees his quarterback in trouble, and defender falls down, but nice job going up, making the play, absorbing the hit from Taylor Davis. as it looks like Saeed Gibbs down on the field right now. The injured Jayhawk in question.
We'll step aside as they attend to Gibbs.
Legs just get tangled up, no contact around there. Looks like that right ankle just buckles on him a bit. And then the other side, Royer goes up to make a great play, gets undercut by Davis. You're looking to see, it doesn't seem like the head hits off the turf too much. You always worry about that whiplash. Hope we can get back out there soon.
He did go to the medical tent on the Cincinnati sideline, picked up the first down on a 20-yard grab, and that allows the Bearcats to hammer away with Evan Pryor again. He's up near midfield. And Devin Dye, who missed the first half, returns to the Kansas secondary and gets credit for the tackle.
On the other side, you saw Patrick Gerd come in at tight end, do a great job leading up on that counter run. As now we got Gavin Grover in the left side of the formation as the group absorbing that loss of Royer for the time being.
Pressure again. Sorsby dodges it, throws low, but a smooth catch by Pryor, being able to get vertical to move the chains.
We talked about Sorsby loving Josh Allen. That shoulder shimmy in the pocket to get up underneath that defender. That kind of effortless athleticism. Speaking of athleticism, Pryor going low for this one, back behind him. Does a great job against Kamara in the hole, get the first down.
You're right about Sorsby. There's a poise, not a panic, when he sees a rusher, in part because he's been there and done that. But also I think he believes in his physical stature to shake off some of those hits. Flag comes in. Looks like holding. Downfield catch to the 15 for Goody. We'll see if it stands. For now, it's 31 for Cincinnati.
21.
It'll be 10 going the other way on the penalty. And that is Gerd, who you mentioned, stepping in for Royer at tight end.
Another play. We've seen both teams go to these hard play action cell throwbacks. And that time he just gets a handful you see on the edge. Easy call. Great job by John Kamara forcing the issue on the edge. We mentioned you're exposed on that rollback side. He was trying to set up the throwback to Goody on the right side of the field. And gets clipped there. Still no sign of Royer yet coming out of the 10.
Now both those guys, former Ohio State Buckeye
Yes.
tight ends.
And you can see the physical body type on these guys.
And Gavin Grover will be the tight end. He's in the left slot here. Front empty. Sorsby gets antsy and takes off. Crosses midfield, and then at the 48 of Kansas, he's dragged down by Trey Lathan, who last week faced his former team. Got a pick off West Virginia. He wears the green dot for this defense.
Love a little revenge game, getting to go back and get one against your former team. Even if there's not hard feelings, you always want to show them you're doing well. And Lathan certainly is. As you see Royer coming out of the tent right now, helmet off on the sideline for Cincinnati.
Bearcats still behind the sticks. Second down and long. Sorsby hit as he throws. Distributes out to Caldwell. He did a nice job to make the first man miss. He has Cincinnati in 3rd and 1 with a catch and run of 11 yards.
We mentioned Caldwell, that Bruce Feldman freaks list candidate. You see why right here. Gets the short catch and then teleports around the defender. Some impressive moves on this drive. We saw a quarterback hurdle from Sorsby, the juke from Caldwell. And now 3rd and short, where if you believe this 4-down territory, you could absolutely sell me on. Load up multiple tight ends, call a shot play for a 2-man route combo, and see if you get someone screaming open downfield.
I do have the tight ends on the field. Tawee Walker is the back. Fake it to him and let the quarterback do damage. First down Cincinnati at the 32.
Great shot there. We see the zone read out of the pistol in the backfield. And a great collision. How about Walker getting the shot on the linebacker coming up, turning himself into a blocker after the mesh point. Great response and a great shot on the play.
Teams trading touchdowns here in the second half. 3.5 to go in the 3rd. 9th play of the Bearcats march. Sorsby still without Royer. Feeds Walker to the right side, and that's rejected by Rockchalk. Dean Miller and others over there cementing that side. Blake Harrell picks himself up off the turf.
Yeah, this D-tackle room. Getting down there, bare, so you've got the center and both guards covered up by defensive linemen, and a great job working play side and making a shot, making a splash play in the backfield.
300 career games played on this deep and experienced defensive line. Over the middle, beating the blitz. Gavin Grover rumbling to the goal line and just missed a touchdown. Got all but the last yard, 33 on the completion.
We know the injuries to the back middle of this defense. Gibbs, the latest that we've seen go out. So what does Cincinnati do? They go right at him. Now let's see. Didn't extend the ball down here. Yeah, that looks like that's the right call. Ball going down by the goal line. Oof. Right on the edge.
So now they load up on the doorstep. Walker punches it in. Cincinnati on the road with the lead again. There is a penalty marker down.
Yeah.
Holding, number 56, offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
DeAndre Buford again at right tackle.
Yep, you're going to see him isolated on the front side here. Just get the double leg takedown. So watch him tied up on the front side of a play where you got pullers coming from the backside. Tries to go for the pancake, but you see when the linebacker's got that hand extended out and it seems like you're restricting him outside of the framework of the body, the official's usually going to throw that flag even if he was going down.
All right, so a red zone infraction there. It's still and goal, but now the Bearcats are outside the 10-yard line.
Kansas playing the substitution game, getting them down under 5 seconds.
Sorsby caught for the snap. Where's the hit? Flings it to the sky and hits a photographer.
What a great shot that's going to be. And what a shot from Tommy Dunn up the middle. We mentioned this defensive tackle group. Watch him get the clean win in the middle. Great hit, didn't put his helmet down. We know we saw targeting earlier in a similar situation, but he beats Gavin Gerhardt, the center, right up the gut.
And you can see the reverse angle on 12 News tonight. Sorsby still looking for a solution in the red zone. Will take it himself. Runs out of room up against his own sideline to the 5 for 3rd and goal.
Little student body right, motion man going that way. Quarterback follows him and tries to get the cavalry leading. And we've seen Cincinnati upended by some self-inflicted wounds. Some calls, a holding on the prior drive. I disagreed with one there that backed you up. But 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, I should say, right down by the goal line.
And look, I think those who've been watching have been following this. But this is all possible because of a 3rd down conversion of 20 yards to Joe Royer. He has not yet returned to this game. So without him, against the blitz, Sorsby fading away, incomplete. And Kansas once again gets a red zone stop. Trey Lathan in on the rush.
So we already broke through the seal, that first sack of the season against this Cincinnati offense. And then right here, the running back still in the backfield. A great job of responding, recognizing the situation by Withers. This Kansas defensive tackle room, they saw all the injuries to the back end. You got a linebacker out ejected by targeting. That group up front has stepped up. They've been the engine that DK McDonald believes they can be.
Rusnak from 24 for the lead. 17 makes in a row going back to last year and his days at Charlotte. And a 13-play, 69-yard drive, which was within inches of the goal line on the Gavin Grover catch and rumble. The Jayhawks able to keep it out of the end zone, make Cincinnati snap it again, and the holding penalty cost them a touchdown.
Game of inches, right? You can understand, we heard for years in New England, right? The Patriots always coached you not to reach by the goal line for fear of it getting punched out, but you can't help but wonder all of a sudden if Grover reaches out as he is tearing through that secondary. And in this game where we heard from Jalen Daniels on the sideline, Lauren told us before, if they want to shoot out, we got it. To hold them to 3 at any point in the second half feels like a massive win for either defense.
Oh, not only did he not extend it, I mean, he had this thing strapped to his chest with both big arms here.
You saw the celebration. Caleb Goody behind him thought, all right, we're at pay dirt, we're striking up the band. And that's why you stay after it. Great play on the back end by Jalen Todd to come over and make the tackle to make that all possible.
A sophomore corner from Detroit with what could prove to be a pivotal play in this league opener for Cincinnati and second consecutive home game for Jalen Daniels and KU.
Be curious if at some point in this drive or in the fourth quarter, they go back to the look we saw earlier where Cole Ballard comes on the field, Jalen Daniels goes out to wide receiver. That's where you're always worried as a defense about that quarterback coming looping back for a reverse pass, a big-time trick play that they planted the seed for earlier in this game.
Yeah, I just wonder if it's today or if it's down the road, because you don't run that just for creativity points. New drive begins with a run. Blocked at the point of attack. No Daniel Highshaw, no trouble today as Le'Shawn Williams takes it for 16.
And all the motion, the eye candy, the zone read work ends up making the defenders have to wait an extra beat. That time, great job by the offensive line picking up the movement. The whole defense slants from right to left in front of them, and these guys get a hat on a hat and allow their running back up to the second level where he can make one miss.
Now, you mentioned that Williams comes by way of 4 seasons in Iowa City, limited to 3 games last year with an injury. Says that KU has brought back his joy for the game. It's great to see him playing well to close out his college career here. Fake it to him, set up to launch, and then check it down. Down being the operative word. It's too tall.
And Daniels just missed one. If we can get a look at it, Bryson Canty was wide open on the double move, faked like he was going for the deep over across the field, pivoted back, and was standing basically by himself at the 40-yard line there. And it looked like Daniels just missed him. I don't know if some of the pressure up his face in the middle of the pocket caused him to look down or not, but looked like a big missed opportunity there.
See 3 deep in that secondary, playing the line to gain for Cincinnati. Final 34 seconds of our third stanza. Ripping across the 50-yard line. Daniels puts it on the number of Cam Pickett for 9 of the 10 he needed. Let's see if they have any interest in snapping it again this quarter.
This team consistently down in, down out.
Turn the temperature up on this fourth quarter by picking up 3rd and short from midfield.
You heard him say in that clip he wants to be one of the first 5 in. Lance Leipold said they tracked that. They tracked to see who are the first 5 guys, not just to reward a cliche that we always hear about quarterbacks, but they want to see, hey, is something atypical happening for guys? There's something else going on in his life. A guy who's usually going to be one of those first guys in the building. They want to be taking the temperature of their team while their quarterback is raising it in their room.
Well, to be one of those first 5, Mike, he has to arrive shortly after 5 a.m., as is his habit here. Sends his tailback out of the backfield, creating space. And a hole in the zone. Below the 30, Keaton Quebeca has his first catch and run. A sophomore from Austin, Texas.
Great job here. We talked about on the other side for Sorsby, the intermediate passing game, but Daniels just puts his foot in the ground, sees Quebeca on the outside, and takes the easy yards that are there. Both these quarterbacks. Daniels up over 350 yards. Sorsby at 315 right now. It's been a sensational day and a reminder of all the depth of great quarterbacks playing this conference.
You mentioned it. They might split Jalen Daniels out again. New quarterback on a run through the right side. Isaiah Marshall. And goal coming for the Jayhawks. And the freshman sprints for 19.
Everybody's a weapon in this Kansas Jayhawk offense. True dual threat in the backfield, and you see the extra burst. Just stutter steps, gets a lead block from Harry Stewart at the point of attack. And yet another thing you've got to account for now if you're Cincinnati or anyone else studying this game tape for Kansas on offense.
Now Daniels back behind center. His lead back today, Le'Shawn Williams in his side cone. That's where they go. Nothing doing between the tackles as the Bearcats stand it up in the hole. So for most programs, Jalen Daniels' wheels would be plenty. But Kansas needs to show up Cole Ballard first and Isaiah Marshall behind him.
For Jalen Daniels, I will say, we know injury's been a part of his career, back injuries, shoulder injuries, things like that. In his 6th year, might not have the same burst that he did once as a young man back when he was here during the Les Miles era.
Don't age the 22. Come on.
Hey, 6 years into college, I remember how I felt as a 5th year as the old man on campus. 6, 7 for some of these guys now. Wild.
Daniels sets the laces, lets it go, end zone. Fans want a flag. And there it is. Emmanuel Henderson Jr. brings out the penalty marker.
Pass interference, number 5, defense. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic first down.
Same play we actually saw Cyrus Allen score on for Cincinnati on the other side. Inside of 3, you go for that corner route, and no question, grab of the back of the jersey. Henderson sells it with the hands, and now we're getting big. We mentioned this was the O-line Big 12 Beef of the Week pick after Fresno State. We got an extra offensive lineman on the field, multiple tight ends. Everybody's ready to block.
Boy, they botched the snap. I think Kansas got back on it, but the officials killing the play with flags and whistles. That play may not even go in the box score. But for all the eye candy, that was almost a Kansas cavity.
The ball was never legally snapped. False start. Offense. Multiple players moved, but the center did not snap the ball. It's a 5-yard penalty. Second down. Correction, first down.
We'll see the replay right here. So a lot of bodies in the backfield, and you're right, everyone taking off before the center even has a chance, and that's one of those things that can happen. You saw LeSean Williams in the quarterback slot in the pistol. Daniels is behind him, so someone different in charge of the snap count. You're tense because you've gone over this play all week. You've repped it in the walkthrough. You want to see it win well, and everybody can't quite hold their water in a pivotal moment.
Still first and goal, back to basics in terms of the personnel presented here. Daniels will take the snap. Williams in front of him, driving the pile to the 1. And they throw the beanbag again. Cincinnati thinks they might have a takeaway. Officials clearing the pile, trying to get to the bottom of this. Cincy's selling it big time. They do take it away.
The ruling on the play is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Cincinnati.
And I'm sure we're going to get a bunch of looks at this on replay, as any turnover usually does. But it's important to remember, that's the ruling on the field. So in the midst of that scrum, good luck to these officials. We'll see if there's an angle anywhere. Ball clearly jarred out. Great job by Antoine Peak Jr. forcing another fumble. I feel like that's all he does. And then the recovery here in the middle of the fray. I can tell you from experience, JB, you never want to be on the bottom of a pile in the middle of the fumble. Some unspeakable things usually happening in there in the name of getting the football.
It's immaterial here, but in the end, the football wound up in the hands of a Kansas Jayhawk. But by then, possession had already been declared. Players like Jake Golday for Cincinnati had already celebrated. So at some point here, as you see the umpire digging into the pile, our crew got a clear look at possession for the visitors.
Tell you what, Antoine Peak, 4 forced fumbles last season, tied for the Big 12 lead, 5th in his career. He's now tied for 6th most in the program's history. The record holder, his dad.
He's not going to catch him.
The family business is taking the football away in the Peak household.
Crowd trying to give their defense a lift. Sorsby looking for breathing room. A yard.
Well, now on the other side, opportunity for this Kansas defense. We lauded the defensive tackle room in the last drive for bowing up. You get a chance to get behind the lines of scrimmage and potentially make a play, cause another penalty, getting on edges. They've done a good job the last couple tries getting penetration on this great Cincinnati offensive line.
For all the good that Cincinnati has done this season, takeaways have been hard to find. Scott Satterfield's group comes up with one, but for the moment, saved a touchdown. How can they dig out of their own end? Sorsby protecting the lead and the football. Able to get it to Goody, who steps through a tackle and moves the chains up to the 16-yard line.
Great individual effort. The wide receiver spot, eyes on him all the way from Austin Alexander, who's been sensational today on a lot of the deep balls, running stride for stride, but that time not able to come up and make the tackle.
When he stays in the formation, Sorsby from empty hitches and takes off. He's buried near the 18-yard line. Lauren, any update on the star tight end Joe Royer?
Yeah, well, we saw Joe Royer go into the tent. He came out, was standing on the sidelines, holding his helmet, put his helmet back on, did not enter the field. Well, when Kansas offense was on the field, he actually went back to the locker room. He's currently being evaluated right now. Not exactly sure what for, but questionable to return to today's game. Still working on more info for you guys.
The way the staff described him to us is if you're playing cards, he's the joker. So right now, that piece off the table. Walker in the backfield, over the right side. Nice ankle tackle made there at the second level by Kansas. The carry up to the 25-yard line. 3rd and short upcoming.
And Patrick Gerd, who we've talked about in there, the other former Ohio State transfer, still doing a good job blocking, but when they say that joker, it's the mismatch of not knowing on any given play, can he go up and be a lead blocker? Is he going to be holding at the point of attack, or do we have to worry about him slipping past? We've seen Cincinnati use Royer's presence to buy up the eyes of linebackers and safeties and open up opportunities for others. You don't have that same threat right now with Gerd and the rest of this group on the field.
They are always +1 in the running game because of their quarterback here in short yardage situations. Calls his own number and runs over a Jayhawk for a new set of downs. Jalen Todd desperately hanging on. Hurley comes to help, but not before Sorsby moves the chains and lets Kansas know about it as well.
Gavin Gerhardt is center, up in the grill of the defense, defending his quarterback. How can you not want to go out and fight? The fake on the wide rush from Cyrus Allen, and then puts his head down in the hole and gets the tough yards. Just a really gutty effort. Both quarterbacks, we've seen finishing runs, and that lights up your huddle.
Sorsby on first. Pressure rods on his doorstep. Oh, and he could not feather it in. I think that rush just hurried him enough to derail the throw to Caldwell. Sorsby pays a heavy price.
You're going to see him get crushed. It looks like coming off the right side here. Both sides, actually. Justice Finkley, the captain and transfer from Texas on one side, and then John Kamara, who's getting the added workload because Bengali Kamara ejected due to the targeting call earlier in this game. Both meeting the QB.
2nd down from empty. Stunt up front. What a catch again. Cyrus Allen on his back hip. Not going to get him much in terms of yardage, but it gives him a chance on 3rd down. Now, we asked the coaching staff here at Kansas to describe the captain, Justice Finkley, coming over from Texas for us. They said he's the type of guy who wears his pads to meetings. That's the type of intensity the Jayhawks want right now.
All right, using the snap count, got to look at the defense. You see Sorsby checking right now, expecting pressure up the middle.
Here they come. The throw wide of the mark. And after turning it over inside the 5-yard line with a fumble, the Kansas defense helped take some of the sting out of that giveaway.
You can see him fired up right here. The pressure coming off the right side for Sorsby. You can run it right now. So you've got levels. Linebacker comes over. You get a one-on-one matchup on the perimeter, and it ends up being Finkley again, who, with all that action inside, schemes him up a one-on-one rush and a chance to pressure the Q.
Max Fletcher has the punt. Nagy says get away. It takes a Cincinnati hop and trails him down near the 15-yard line. So the Bearcats get a defensive takeaway.
Special with both their arms and legs. This Kansas offense, 27 yards per completion so far this game. A big play waiting to happen, and they need one right now.
It sure looked like they were ready to run it in for the lead in this 4th quarter. Instead, coughed it up on the doorstep. The defense able to protect them a little bit. Let's see if the Jayhawks offense can make amends. Misdirection. Room wide open. He's got the 30 and the 35 before he's cut down with a 1st down catch and run. The senior from Santa Ana, California, gets 22 from Jalen Daniels.
They look like they're setting up the read option going the other way. You've got the motion right here from Henderson, and then all of a sudden Daniels backs out and a little tight end leak. Waiting right there, eye candy, window dressing, easy yards for a wide open tight end in the flat.
From behind the line of scrimmage, you see LeShawn Williams aligning next to Daniels. To the air they go. Short throw and completes. Quebecca's got another. And Mike, as we enter the final 7 minutes, you want to talk about programs ready to make the leap. Look at year-over-year progress. Both these teams 1-5 in one possession games last season. 1 win and 5 losses in games decided by 7 points or fewer.
You've got to change that feeling that can sometimes creep in on a sideline where you're used to bad things happen. It can't be, oh, here it goes again. It's got to be who's going to step up and make a play.
Second down and favorable for this Kansas offense. No playbook open here as they approach midfield. No rush to speak of. The big tight end thrown again. Into Bearcats territory with a new first down at the 43. 13 more as Jalen Daniels plays point guard.
Simeon Coleman getting up a little slow there. Antoine Peak getting a blow. It's been a vanilla defensive look from Cincinnati so far in this drive. That 3-3-5, a lot of holes in the zone, and Daniels has been sitting there in the pocket, comfortable, a lot like Sorsby was in the first half, and able to deliver quick, easy strikes.
At the mesh point, Daniels pulls on platform, waiting for a Jayhawk to come open. Now slicing his way for a new first down at the 31. Jonathan Thompson knocked him off his feet. But even when not by design, Daniels able to move the chains.
Setting up for another play action hammer. That time it looked like the wide receivers get crossed up a little bit downfield. You're going to see a couple of players over here. Looks like they get a bit hung up, and so the timing's off, the coverage is there. And so Daniels sees all that wide open space and then hits him with a little Euro step in the open field. He knows basketball plays around here. He gets it.
No doubt. He's carried 11 times for 49 yards. Low snap. He's going to let Williams do the work here. Absorbs contact and drives downhill to the 27.
With Kansas, a lot of today we've seen, they want to overload one side of the field. You'll see 3 wide receivers, tight end, running back all lined up their way. And so Daniels gets to look and see, hey, do I have easy numbers to hand the ball off and go left? Do we want to take a play action shot and try and get guys running from right to left across the field? It makes the math and the picture really easy on your quarterback from Jim Zabrowski, your offensive coordinator.
It's getting late quickly here. You look at the clock, we're inside of 5 to go. Kansas in command, their 6th play of the drive. They'll keep it on the ground. Emmanuel Henderson Jr. had not had a touch in a while, so they get him involved in the running game, and Golday brings him down at the numbers.
See right here, in the backfield at running back. So another thing you've got to account for now. Trying to see if you can get a matchup. They motioned him in. No one ran. If they had man coverage, you're sure they're probably going to try and go after him, check to a different play where you can get him a favorable matchup. And you wonder as you get late in the game how much Cincinnati up front, running that 3-man front, misses Dante Corleone and his effort in the run game.
A long sneak here. We'll see about the spot. There's Corleone on the trip, gave it a go pregame, just not quite ready to return to the trenches.
Saw him down on the field pregame, just a fire hydrant. Low man wins, and I don't know how you move a guy that stoutly built. Let's see right here again, goes for the sneak from almost 2 yards out.
It's Marcus 4th down here, Golden.
Right call, Jack Dingle, great job. Kind of a throwback linebacker, 6'4", 240. Big body player came up and thudded Daniels in the hole.
Emphasize for now because they will look at the spot of the football to see if Daniels and the Jayhawks did enough for a new first down with just under 3.5 to go. Let's say that the call stays fourth down in inches. Would you give any consideration to a potential tying field goal here, or are you one-minded about chasing the go-ahead touchdown?
I think the way your offense has been going this drive, again, I'm always in favor of 4th and 1, 4th and short, with a mobile quarterback and a line you trust, giving them the opportunity, but especially with how well you've moved the ball on this drive. And we see right here, again, long sneak opportunity, but big holes in this 3-3-5 defense up front. Puts his head down. It's the second effort right here that gets him close. I still think ultimately looks short.
The ruling on the field is upheld. It's 4th down.
Upheld. You may have heard our referee announce. So 4th down, and you say go for it.
I do. I think your offense absolutely capable of this. I think we're going to see another opportunity for Jalen Daniels to probably impact this game as a runner.
In the offense, heading back out on the field, and the home crowd appreciates it. Kansas this season on 4th down, 6 of 9 in their attempts.
Smart crowd, got excited, then got quiet quick. They understand. They want to let their offense go out here and execute. Be able to hear the snap count.
Daniels will step under center. Here's the sneak. Spins off contact. Sent away by Cincinnati. Golday thinks he did enough. The way they put it down, it looks like enough for a 1st down.
It does. I saw that far line judge run in and looked like he gave him enough on the spot. If the ball spotted where we see right now, that looks good for a 1st down. Daniels getting out, trying to find the hole, and that extra spin. Wow. Great play by Golday, showing up in the hole. Back-to-back plays. Dingle the play before. Golday here working through the trash.
From that angle, I know that anything replay can do to change the spot of this ball, so it all comes down to the measurement. And the chain gang says 1st down Jayhawks.
After the last trip down on the goal line, when we saw a little bit of razzle-dazzle that almost ended in a turnover, Jim Zabrowski in this offense simplify the equation. Back-to-back plays a QB sneak, a close effort, and move the chains now ticking down towards 3 minutes left to play.
As you said, momentary elation. Now the crowd quieting down, letting their 6-year quarterback Daniels do his work. Looking left, comes off that read, still has time to leave the pocket. A flag comes in the area of holding as he's tracked down from behind and run out of bounds. Holding is the initial indication.
Holding, number 75, offense, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Clement's the left tackle, Mike.
Yep, you're going to watch him over here. Just a long time to sit in pass protection here. Big number 75 comes down inside. You got multiple pullers on this play, so he ends up on the island. And just that little grab right there. Again, when the official sees a guy outside of the framework of the offensive lineman's body inhibited while the quarterback breaks contain, and it's tough. You're in a lot of space. You don't know Jalen. You're used to him. He's a playmaker. You have to have that clock in your head that's basically non-existent. Right there, it's a little too much.
Now KU kind of in that no negative territory. They go any farther back here, they may miss the opportunity for a tying field goal. Of course, they're still looking for the go-ahead touchdown. Run it with Le'Shawn Williams through on contact. Stopped shy of the 25-yard line by Jake Golday, who's seemingly been everywhere in this second half.
Them to use those timeouts and keep us in field goal range.
And Daniels, who just went double sneak on 3rd and 4th down to extend this possession, got hit with a holding call up front to put them behind the sticks. Play fake, lets it go, left side, caught at the 10. Going out of bounds with a new 1st down, Keaton Quebeca. And Daniels has 400 yards passing for the 2nd time in his career.
Quebeca missed all of last year with a knee injury, looks spry there. And what about the confidence, the message that sends to your offense as a play caller? You trust your quarterback to go out there and make that timing and rhythm throw and give you a chance to punch this thing in and take a lead.
From the 10, it's 1st and goal. Sean Williams, the tailback. Daniels takes the snap and gives. Around the right side, jumping on his back. Golday gobbles up another tackle at the 6.
And here comes that first timeout from Cincinnati.
The 6. Daniels calls for the snap. And throws for the lead. Touchdown, KU. Levi Wentz puts the Jayhawks on top.
Gutsy call after gutsy call by Jim Zabrowski, the offensive coordinator, for his quarterback. Big bodies all over the place, starting with a full house backfield, get big to go skinny in the end zone, and another touchdown and another lead change with the Jayhawks up under 2 remaining.
You might remember Wentz had the first score last week in the Big 12 opener for Kansas on 4th down to get it all started. Jayhawks hoping he's got the finishing touches here today. Critical extra point is up and through. It's a 4-point lead for Kansas as Jalen Daniels connects with senior receiver Levi Wentz. Touchdown toss is our Coca-Cola play of the game.
And watch how easy they make it for Levi Wentz at wide receiver right here. It's the tight end, Bowden Gruen, that's going to come across and occupy the eyes of both defenders to free up the wideout in the back of the end zone. He comes across, both defenders bite up, and Wentz standing by himself in the middle of that beautifully painted new end zone.
Just a slight breeze on this fall afternoon, knocking the ball off the tee. Another look at Daniels there. 4:19 through the air to go with 51 on the ground. His second career 400-yard passing performance. Now Laith Marjan, who just tacked on an extra point for a 4-point lead, will boot it away. Cincinnati will put Matthew McDoom at his goal line. And he will not have the chance to return. It'll be up to Brendan Sorsby when only a touchdown will do for the visitors.
Makes the situation crystal clear and lets you go out and play aggressive, though. You're not worried about trying to get in range, be measured for a field goal. You get to take the restrictor plate off the Red Dragon and give it a little bit more juice.
If there was a silver lining to surrendering that touchdown, they let it in on 2nd down without spending their final timeout. So they preserve the minute 45 to go chase the lead, and they still have that timeout in their pocket.
One veteran quarterback stepped up on big downs, throwing the ball in the red zone with his team's game on the line. Another big-time veteran quarterback takes over with the 2-minute drill to try and go back and win it.
Now the noise at David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium kicking in. Sorsby silences them for now. Takes the easy access throw to Cyrus Allen for 6, maybe 7.
See if Kansas gets aggressive at any point in this drive. Or are they willing to give up those dink and dunk passes down the field, knowing they've got the 20 and in where they really have stepped up all day long?
Sorsby handles that off-frame snap, evades the first wave, and chucks it into the Kansas bench. And we'll point out again here that Joe Royer has not returned to the game since converting a massive 3rd down with a 20-yard catch. He was shaken up, and you feel his absence.
No doubt. You always hear the phrase, a tight end's the security blanket. He said, he's my security blanket in life. He's my downstairs neighbor. Anytime I need a hug, I can go down and check in the big guy. And now in a pivotal moment, you're right, nowhere to be found is Kansas going out here and playing man coverage, putting 2 deep safeties back, and trying to get some pressure on Sorsby.
2 downs to get 4 yards if necessary. They hit the outs, and Cyrus has them. Enough for a 1st down as they pick up on 3rd. 1:30 and a timeout remaining. And there you see Gavin Grover, the replacement tight end.
Once again, Cyrus just finding in man-to-man coverage the receiver that's been his security blanket all day. 11 catches for 128 yards and 2 scores. Cyrus Allen looking every bit the #1 receiver in this offense.
With that completion, Sorsby now 26 of 38 for 342 passing. Feeling the heat. It's collected on the sideline, but out of bounds. For a moment, Jalen Todd gave the home crowd reason to celebrate.
This Kansas pass rush getting an opportunity to pin their ears back. We've seen some twists, some stunts up front. And they're finding seams against this Cincinnati offensive line, making life difficult for Sorsby in the pocket, who was unbothered so much of the game.
Sorsby leaves the pocket. Out at the numbers. Got a man! Isaiah Johnson! Pulled down at the 28 by Lyric Rawls. And there's a late flag down at the 30, right where they collided. For now, it's a 35-yard gain, and we await the penalty announcement.
The hat off again. You wonder if the receiver who ended up catching that ball was out of bounds, like we saw earlier in the game. This Kansas defense thinks this ball's moving back.
Illegal touching, number 0 offense. The receiver went out of bounds on his own, came back in bounds, and was the first to touch the pass. The penalty is a loss of down
right up
at the previous spot.
Kansas sideline.
It's third down.
And earlier it was Bryson Canty. It was against Kansas, where you see, all right, so the number 2 receiver at the bottom right here. Again, the quarterback scramble, so now you're getting ready to turn upfield, and once again, now the question there, and that was right on the edge of did the defender get hands on him and force him out of the sideline. The referee disagrees, and it looks like his foot had already been out of bounds when he was contacted by the defender. So again, if you go out on your own, you can't be the first receiver to come back, even if you reestablish yourself in bounds and catch the football.
Timeout Kansas before third down and 10.
Kansas takes their
play.
first charge time out of the half. 30 seconds in late.
Hold that thought, Mike. Let's take a look at Cincinnati's upcoming schedule presented by Modelo. A ranked Iowa State group next, and then Central Florida.
There's no safe harbor week in and week out, right? We understand, hey, Oklahoma State going through some changes right now. It's been a rough start to the season for them. But Dave Aranda's Baylor squad, Utah, who looked incredible in a matchup that was a slugfest against Texas Tech last week before Tech ultimately pulled away at the end. So as competitive a league as we have in sports, we know that.
I wonder if Satterfield's not asking about what you highlighted for us, that kind of bang bang action on the sideline, where did he run out first or was he shoved out?
Boy, it's right on the edge. Again, the defensive back gets hands on him, but it seemed like the receiver's body was already out of bounds. Did it happen right away? In which case, you can understand the call from this officiating crew. Satterfield clearly disagrees.
Ruled illegal touching to put them in third down and 10. Wipe away the chunk play through the air, and since he's back at their 35-yard line, needing a touchdown, only one timeout. And a minute, 11 seconds to go.
Still plenty of time. A quarterback that you just saw made big plays, but you've got to be aware right now, in the middle of this defense, Dean Miller, number 5, that's a pass rushing body. They've been creating levels by adding a 4th rusher, a little bit delayed, and this offensive line's had a tough time picking up these stunts.
After the timeout, Kansas had 12 on the field. Sorsby hit as he deals. That ball's up in the air. It's tipped, and this game was almost over.
Boy, JB, you wonder how much in those spots you miss Joe Royer, who made a catch similar to that in a similar situation early in the game. That just off the outstep fingers. Usually, when you get that tip ball, you gotta have the pick in the secondary. 4th down on the way for Cincinnati.
Lathan and Rawls with a near miss. Must have 4th down here for Brendan Sorsby. Steps up into trouble. A one-handed stab to keep the game alive. Noah Jennings into Jayhawks territory with 17.
This Bearcats offense won't blink. Play called back for penalty, 4th and game on the line, and Sorsby steps up in the pocket. His receiver makes a great play. Everyone selling out, mashing down turbo on the controller. What an incredible effort.
Still a timeout to utilize when necessary. Just under a minute to go. 4-man rush. Sorsby hit again, dealing middle of the field and caught by Goody. Standing tall in the pocket and wearing it for a new first down at the 26.
All these twists and stunts, getting home, getting hits, but it doesn't matter when your quarterback is this steely on him.
Sets the laces again, looking for the out for yardage and to stop the clock below the 20. Gets 8 on first down with Grover.
Still the timeout in their pocket again. Kansas up 4, so you don't have to worry about playing for a field goal. And here's a shot again of the big play here. Coming right through the middle. He just continues to stand in the pocket and deal.
They're running all kinds of games at the right side of that Cincy offensive line, aren't they?
Yes, they're trying to put Tarantayo in a blender at right guard. And it's led to some easy pressures. It's part of what's flushed Sorsby out of the pocket.
They'll run it here. Tawi Walker to the 5 and to the 2. The and short situation allowing Cincinnati to run it. They get a stop clock with 37 seconds to go, a rush of 17 yards. Walker stays in. Sorsby calls for the snap just as Kansas spends a timeout.
The snap, Kansas takes their second shortest timeout of the half. 30 seconds in left.
And here's the run. Like you mentioned, great situational awareness. You've got the timeout in your pocket. And a great job, the legs of Sorsby affecting the backside of that rush. You saw a defensive lineman hanging on the back end. And we mentioned 77, Tarantayo, putting him in the dirt on the front side of that play. Impressive, and for Kansas, great time out there. That was the second time this drive. We had seen them caught briefly with 12 players on the field, having some trouble with substitution issues, and understanding you got to bow up once again down in the goal line with only 32 seconds left in this game.
Well, the strength of this Cincinnati team has been its red zone offense. A perfect 16 for 16. The vast majority of those have been touchdowns. The only thing they're hunting up here is the go-ahead score.
Normally, you'd be worried about Sorsby being the keeper. He's up under center right now with Zahersky in the fullback spot. Let's see if there's some movement pre-snap that gives Tua a chance to impact this with his legs.
Brendan Sorsby steps under center, opens up, and gives Walker untouched for the go-ahead touchdown.
Touchdown, Cincinnati.
Let's go, baby! Come on!
It lands with 29 seconds, and Kansas holding one timeout.
And boy, does that looming missed interception off the tip ball loom large right now. Have a chance to end the game, and you've got to take it because Brendan Sorsby and this Cincinnati offense were ready with big plays and a stunned crowd here in this home stadium.
An essential extra point try here from Stephen Rusnak and his unit, and the lefty got it. So down a field goal, 29 seconds and a timeout. Kansas still has a look after a 10-play, 75-yard touchdown drive.
You're going to see big number 50 pulling left to right. Evan Tangesdal just clearing out space. But the job by 56, DeAndre Buford, who's had a couple of holding calls go against him today. A great job getting to the second level and clearing some space against Trey Lathan. That whole group didn't blink. Brendan Sorsby was a quarterback I thought highly of coming into this season, coming into this game. Didn't start as well as he wanted to passing the football against Nebraska at the beginning of the season. He has stood and delivered, made timely shifts in the pocket, spread this ball around. He's been incredible today.
Gojo, big picture. How about life in the Big 12 in 2025? We were watching on Friday night as Arizona State rallies on their home field. Then late night, Houston on the road in Corvallis from down 2 scores to win it in overtime. Here we are today at the outset of a new Saturday, and Cincinnati and Kansas have delivered.
Remember a couple of years ago, the last year of the Pac-12 with all those great veteran quarterbacks that put on such a show. It feels like this year with all the returning production in the Big 12, you knew you had the chance for something special. But we've seen veteran quarterbacks across college football, highly ranked players, not live up to the billing so far. The Big 12 as advertised this season.
Can they keep it away from Emmanuel Henderson on a hop? He takes it at the sideline. Does his best to get yardage and save time. That is his only return today.
And JB, as crazy as this is to say, one timeout left, 27 seconds. You still get that feeling, did you score too quick with how potent this big play attack has been? This Kansas offense averaging 23.3 yards of completion so far today.
We asked the Kansas staff how far they would need to get for a late game field goal opportunity. Ideally, they want to be tucked inside the 35-yard line, but they would stretch it out to 36, 37 in a situation like this. So that's the line to keep an eye on. Daniels shooting for it. Steps up to dodge the heat. This is huge here. Since he drags him down below the 30. With 19 seconds to go, the Jayhawks have to burn their last timeout.
Final charge timeout of the half.
Golday's been tackling everything that moves, especially in this second half. A force again there. And Cincinnati might be one play away.
You look on this last play, a recognition. You got 3 defenders on this side of the line, all making sure, hey, we're not going to let Daniels roll to the right side of this. Good pressure up front. Then you mentioned Golday's just been everywhere all day. You can see why he's getting legitimate top 100 NFL buzz. The physical skills showing up time and time again all across this defense for Tyson Veit, the coordinator.
All right, so without a timeout, if Kansas works the middle of the field, they have to be hyper efficient getting to their first down game.
Again, all 3 D linemen on that right side, making sure he can't roll to that strong arm.
Deep drop. Daniels does get out the right side. Tracked down by Golday and sends it into the Cincy sideline. It'll be 3rd down and 6 with 11 seconds to go.
Boy, that timeout being gone off the sack, just crucial now. 3 deep, keeping everything in front of them. And again, they're just feeding it all to Jake Golday. 3 D linemen start off, they stunt from right to left, and then they try and flush the quarterback up so that Golday can corral.
Jayhawks desperately striving for a late field goal try. Incomplete at midfield. It's 4th down and only 6 seconds remain.
As SVP and Stanford Steve would say, it's about time for a little pitchy woo-woo.
Well, say this about Kansas. We know they have every trick in the bag, so it's not something they have not rehearsed. Always mindful of a defensive penalty that could extend the game for an untimed down. Still a lot that can happen. And Lance Leipold and his Jayhawks. And before the snap to Daniels, the final Cincinnati timeout, having seen the personnel in the formation.
Going back to that last scoring drive that put the Bearcats ahead, that tipped interception right there feels like the difference in this game late. Again, an incredible play from Noah Jennings. A great job moving around, standing in the pocket, taking hits by Sorsby. Play after play before ultimately the one run from Walker sets them up inside the goal line. And then that big group up front paving the way for the go-ahead score in this game. You see the hugs on the sideline for Sorsby right now. The swagger that we heard with him mic'd up before the game. The unquestioned leader of this team that he helped put together in part in the wide receiver room. And the offense coordinated by Scott Satterfield that once again put up big-time points in a big drive when it mattered most.
All right, take us through the look here on this defensive front as they try and play this out on 4th and 6.
Two deep, two underneath, and actually a decent amount of guys near the line of scrimmage. You're still probably going to end up rushing 2 or 3, dropping players out. But they want to give this offensive line something to think about.
Jalen Daniels finds the completion. This is just the start. Quebeca out to Pickett. Now it's on the deck. Scooped up by a lineman, and it ends there as Cincinnati silences Lawrence with a road win.
JB, there is no sweeter sound as the opposing team than the stunned silence